A couple of top seeds get knocked out of the NCAA tournament. Duke, Mizzou, I'm talking to you. That will bust your bracket. But madness? How about this? 43 stock cars on a half-mile track.
It's Bristol, baby!
Bristol. Some call it the Coliseum. Others, simply the bull ring. Strap yourself to a few thousand pounds of raw power and hang on for all your work.
Got one up against the wall.
Flags out. Come on.
And in this ring, you have to hold on for longer than just 8 seconds.
Hold on. Justin Allgaier's going to do it.
Yeah, baby.
Back it down, back it down.
Idiot. That was an accident waiting to happen.
Who will ride to glory on the fastest half mile in the world?
Hold out there.
Saddle up. It's time to ride.
We have been chomping at the bit to get here. Bristol Motor Speedway, race 4 of this 2011 season. Welcome to NASCAR Countdown. Dale Earnhardt Jr. swept both races at this track in the fall of 2004. The Cup and the Nationwide Series. What can he do in 2012? He starts today 16th. The driver of that 33 car is Kevin Harvick. He'll roll off from the 6th spot. It has been a roller coaster week for Trevor Bayne. He started the season with the 3-race guarantee from Jack Roush. Well, here we are, race 4. Bayne is here. He'll start 2nd. In 4th, it's Elliott Sadler, who is already a winner this season. 3 races, 3 winners, and not a one of them is a Cup driver.
Half a lap to go. 3 wide in turn 4. A squeeze to the outside wall. Who gets through to win the race? James Busher has won this race. It's been a long time since Elliott Sadler won a NASCAR Nationwide Series race. He'll be first to the checkers today in Phoenix.
Hell yeah, baby!
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won the series championship last season. Now just 3 races into this season, he's going to go to victory lane at Las Vegas. His 3rd career victory in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Stenhouse, who according to Mark Martin gave the field in Las Vegas a series beatdown. He attempted to keep that going here in qualifying. He was close. He starts 3rd. Jamie?
Well, it was certainly a big week for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Wins the race in Las Vegas, and then on Tuesday you got to collect your champion's ring, and you even bought your dad one. What did that mean for you? Did that finally make it feel like you're a champion?
Well, I had mine, but it was cool to give all the guys theirs, and you know, Jack bought one for my dad, so it was pretty special. All the guys enjoyed it, and just kind of put an end to 2011, and you know, now we're on to 2012. It's another year, and we're in a quest for another one, and I think we got the race cars to do it and the team to do it this year again.
Such a racer. Already moving on to this year and another championship. So let's talk about Bristol. First practice didn't seem like it went too well. You were struggling. Second practice, P1. What kind of gains did you guys make for this race?
Our Black Angus beef, Cargill Mustang, was a little bit off when we started. We weren't terrible. I just wasn't really happy with it. And Mike Kelly made a lot of changes. And, you know, obviously we were fastest in second practice, qualified 3rd. Still not 100% happy with it, but we got something to work with today. So we start towards the front, got a good pit box, and we'll just have to make sure we mistake-free all day long. And we were fast here last year in the spring, so hopefully we can be that fast again.
2011 champion, always has lofty expectations. He'll roll off 3rd. Nicole?
Jamie, thank you very much. That 6 car starts 3rd. The 60 car, his teammate Trevor Bayne, starts 2nd. I don't know. You may want to watch the Roush cars today. They look pretty good. Inside the ESPN pit studio, where we hope no one else is feeling green, but perhaps wearing green. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I wish I had a good Irish accent, but I don't. I am Nicole Briscoe alongside Rusty Wallace, Brad Doherty, and joining us today, Mr. Marty Smith down there on the end. What do you say about this season so far this year? 3 different winners. James Busher, Elliott Sadler, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., not a single Cup driver in the mix. What do you make of the level of competition that we're seeing so far?
We have got fantastic competition this year. These guys are prepared. They're all driving really good cars, and they're making use of the good cars they got. I mean, you take a look at what happened at Daytona, Phoenix, everything like Nicole just mentioned. These guys are really doing good, and I'm really proud to see the nationwide drivers up there in front where they deserve to be.
Well, it's given the series, and we have to give NASCAR a big pat on the back. You know, they made the drivers decide which series you're going to run for a championship in. And I think it's taken a lot of those Cup guys out of just coming in, messing around, hobbying around, and it's made these nationwide guys more relevant. So we're seeing some really good young race car drivers get to the front, race up front, and win some races.
It's what the fans want to see, too. There's always the great debate, do Cup drivers belong, don't they belong? And it's great to see this young blood have success and do that for the series identity. It's great.
And it's nice to see some carryover. The two guys who were competing for the championship last year, Elliott Sadler and Ricky Stenhouse, both of them have won, including Stenhouse, who, like we said, just picked up that ring. What kind of pressure is he under to keep it going?
He's got to be under a lot of pressure. I mean, Stenhouse, let's talk about him. I mean, this guy has really exceeded everybody's expectations, in my opinion. I mean, there was a time when he was wrecking everything.
2
That
years ago.
completely quit, guys. Man, now he's up front. He's the guy we're picking to win a lot of these races. And take a look at Elliott Sadler. He was so close and didn't get it done. And now he's got a great team. He's with Richard Childress Racing. The cars look better. I think he's going to have a good year, too. But a lot of pressure under those two in particular to make it happen and repeat and get it done.
Do you get the impression that Stenhouse is almost racing with a chip on his shoulder? Like he's got something to prove?
I think he does, and we saw it in the interview right there. I think it's great, his demeanor of saying, that was last year. That championship's over with. And it's simply because you look at his whole situation there with his teammate, Trevor Bayne, who's in a Cup ride off and on for a lot of the season. Ricky Stenhouse hadn't got his shot yet. Usually, after you win a nationwide championship, you have an opportunity to step into a Cup ride. He doesn't have that. So this guy said, okay, I still got to prove myself. That's what I like about Ricky Stenhouse. Nothing's been given to him.
Nope.
He's got to prove it. I love that about him.
Well, he only had one guy stand behind him after, as Rusty noted, 2 years ago, he hit everything but the lottery.
Yeah.
And fortunately for him, his team owner stood behind him when nobody else believed.
Yeah,
Jack Roush saw potential. Of course, he had Tony Stewart's endorsement, but now he is one of the marquee guys being a champion, and he'll always have that chip because he does have to show people that he belongs.
Coming up next on NASCAR Countdown, we'll talk to a few drivers who should not be overlooked today because experience at this track counts. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has that experience and some wins, and then a couple of young guns who are very much making their names known so far. Austin Dillon and Cole Whitt. What to expect from the rookies when we roll on from Bristol.
Can't say enough about Austin Dillon and the great start he's gotten off to this season.
Mowing them down big time right there, whatever you did. Fastest car on the racetrack.
He has shown an incredible amount of patience and maturity for such a young driver.
Oh! No. Austin Dillon with a big slide.
Man, that's a nice save what he did.
We're fine. We're going to be just fine.
Not just a Rookie of the Year contender in this nationwide series, he's a championship contender, too.
Man, I've learned more in these first 3 races in this nationwide series than probably my career so far. It's been wild.
Just keep your head straight. Keep digging here.
The rookie Cole Whitt running in the top 5. He just has a tremendous amount of talent.
Keep working on it. We'll get by.
See Cole Whitt in that 88 doing a nice job here again today.
Good job, man. Way to drive it.
Well, they've posted very similar results this season, and their qualifying efforts similar as well, at least today. Dillon, though, out-qualified that young man, Cole Whitt. Dillon will start just ahead in 9th. Whitt follows Austin Dillon in 14th. Now, much has been made of the fact that in the first 3 races of this season, it's been 3 different non-Cup drivers to pull into victory lane, but much should be made about this as well. There are 3 rookies in the top 10 in points. Taylor Molson in 7th, Cole Whitt 5th, and the guy standing by with Dr. Jerry Punch trails the points leader by 15.
Yeah, very great start for Austin Dillon. 3 top 10 finishes, 2nd in points. You know, your grandfather, Richard Childress, told me, he said the learning curve here for a young driver at Bristol is very steep. So with that in mind, what is your primary challenge here today and biggest concern?
Well, we got quite a few. You know, first we want to run all the laps, make sure we're there at the end of the race. And if we're there at the end of the race in the top 10, we'll have a shot to win this thing. So I want to thank Nationwide Insurance and Advocare for letting us be here. It's going to be fun, fans. You guys watch it. It's going to be a good race.
Hey, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Austin Dillon, one of a number of the talented young newcomers coming to the series. Another one standing by with Jamie Little.
And that would be Cole Whitt. He's 5th in the points right now. And your first time here in a nationwide car, and that coupled with your driving style from open wheel background, how much of a challenge is Bristol?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you'd be surprised. A lot of people talk about how hard you can really drive this racetrack, and that's kind of one of the problems I've actually had here this weekend so far has been overdriving, getting in too hard and kind of not really letting the car do what it needs to do and just kind of work. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we really kind of started hitting here towards the end of practice and had a good qualifying run, really. And, it's a big step from where we were. We've really gained a lot, so looking forward to the race and, have Hendrick cars on board. It's pretty exciting, and Nationwide Insurance for everything that they've done with our series is pretty cool. It's great to be part of this youth movement through NASCAR, so just look forward to a good season and hopefully a good day here.
All right, he's had one start in a truck here, but he hopes to better that 12th place finish. Nicole?
Jamie, Doc, thank you very much. You can see Danica Patrick sporting her green. Oh, my.
Hello.
That is also very green. Everyone's getting into the same spirit.
Little day glow.
Hey, by the way, if you want to join our conversation, join us on Twitter at NASCAR ESPN. What comes to mind when we're talking to guys like Austin Dillon and Cole Whitt, it's one word, and it's pressure. Pressure exists in all levels of professional sports, but in this particular series, you have to come into this sport. Not only do you have to come in, you have to come in and make a name for yourself, because if you don't, that's it. You're gone and forgotten.
Yeah, this sport, Rusty, as you think about it, over the years, past decade, it's really changed. It used to be, as an owner, you would have an open seat, and you would take a young driver like a Cole Whitt or an Austin Dillon, stick them in that race car, give them 4 or 5 seasons to mature and to earn and garner their talent. Now it's not like that. You have these young guys who have to go out and find their own sponsorship dollars and take advantage of the opportunity. But I look at a guy like Austin Dillon, and I think he has the most pressure on him of anyone in that Nationwide series simply because of expectations. He has the best of everything. He can only go one way, and that's down if he's not up on that wheel winning races.
Yeah, but all these young guys, Brad, they got to perform. I mean, I go back looking at some other guys that have been there and performed and lost the sponsors. Couldn't find the sponsors, lost their job. I mean, whatever happened to a guy like Stephen Light?
Oh, man, great race car driver.
Stephen Light won Kentucky. What about Eric Darnell? What about Colin Brown? What about all these good young guys that we don't see? Nowadays, you got to perform on the track, but you got to make those sponsors happy.
That's right.
Because if you don't, they won't be around, and their owners are not going to fund it any longer.
Did I just hear you say that you think Austin Dillon is under? I disagree.
I could not disagree more.
I think he's under tremendous pressure.
Because in today's economic climate, you said it, you have to have money, and it's so hard. He has every resource at his disposal. If he packs it in the fence every day, his grandfather's still going to put wheels under him. Then you look at a kid like Cole Whitt. Dale Earnhardt Jr. as a team owner has but one rule. Do not wreck my cars. Remember Mark McFarland? He's gone. Remember Shane Huffman? He's gone. Brad Keselowski brought cars home. Look what he's doing. I talked to Denny Hamlin on Friday here at Bristol about both these young men, however, and he said he can see it already. They have the disposition and the speed as drivers to not only excel at this level, but the next one too. Very high praise.
But what happens, Marty? I mean, you just said Dale Earnhardt Jr. is not going to put up with it if they wreck his cars. What about Danica Patrick?
Yeah.
She's wrecked his cars all year long. How long is that going to continue?
Rick Hendrick is behind Danica Patrick.
Okay.
That's all you need to know about that.
Okay.
Now, as far as Cole Whitt is concerned, that's Junior's deal. Okay. Rick Hendrick is behind him.
And let's not pretend that Danica and Cole Whitt are on the same level in terms of name recognition.
I still think Austin Dillon has so much he has to prove.
By the way, we asked you who you thought so far has been the most impressive rookie so far this year, and a couple of names popping up. Austin Dillon so far getting your vote. Cole Whitt not too far behind, but I want to join this name here, Johanna Long. She's third on the list, getting 18% of your vote. Here's the thing. She starts 24th in the field today. She's in the 70 car. Yes, she has ECR engines. She gets the chassis from Richard Childress. But that is a very small organization.
Yeah, but let me tell you what. This young lady is really good. I mean, she's got a lot of great credentials. She's really fast. She won the biggest race of the year when it comes to short track racing, the coveted Snowball Derby down at Pensacola, Florida, which every race car driver inside that racetrack right now knows about the Snowball. Not only did she win it, she sat on the pole a couple times. She's won a ton of short track races, has got a lot of experience in those type of cars. Do not be surprised if we see her a lot more.
Certainly winning the Snowball Derby, huge for her resume. Kyle Busch won the year before she won, and Chase Elliott and Rick Hendrick's stuff won last year. And one interesting thing that I've noticed from interacting with fans about Joanna Long is that the ones that aren't giving Danica Patrick credit for her climb into this are sort of championing Joanna Long, as if her career rise is more organic.
When we come back, we'll talk to a few drivers in the field today, including Dale Earnhardt Jr. There he is talking with his young driver, Cole Witt. We'll also talk to a guy who's won an awful lot in this series, but has not yet won this season. Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Join us next.
Junebug was saying, boy, don't wreck my car.
Don't wreck no car. I'll boot you, buddy.
At this place, where most timidly try to avoid trouble, there are those confident few who prefer to attack. They embrace the sound and fury, just as they embrace the trophy at day's end.
Rusty Wallace wins.
Thunder Valley doesn't bring them down. They bring down the thunder.
Great venues exist in all sports. There's Yankee Stadium, Fenway Park, Lambeau Field, my personal favorite. Bristol Motor Speedway belongs on that list. Of course, great teams win at great venues, and great drivers win at this particular track.
Hey.
Boy, you're looking young
Good-looking
that
man
day.
right there. Look at no wrinkles on my forehead.
Look at all that hair. Look at all that hair.
That's a lot of hair.
Rusty won here an awful lot, but he is not alone. Cale Yarbrough, a 9-time winner at Bristol Motor Speedway. There he is. Some old shots. How about this one? Father and son, Dale Earnhardt Sr. 9 wins at this track, and the young boy on the far right would later go on to win here as well. That would be Junior. Rusty, 9 wins.
Woo, Raymond Beetle there. Look at that. That's my
And
car on the
Darrell
right side.
Waltrip leads the way. 12 wins. Experience at this track matters, and that's where we'll find down on the grid 6 Cup drivers racing today, including Dale Earnhardt Jr. Vince?
Well, Junior's had a lot to smile about this week. His nationwide car has been pretty darn good. Just saw you visiting with Cole Witt and also with Danica Patrick. As an experienced driver here, what's your advice to your young, inexperienced drivers?
I just, I just tell him these first 10 races are the most important races of the season. You know, if you can't get a good start, you get in a hole and can't get out of it. And this is one of the places that you can get bit. There's about 15 race cars out here that can win this race. On a good day, 10 of them will make it to the end, and maybe you can outrun a few, and that'll be a good day, and anything better than that is got to come from him. So he's got the tools and good crew chief and good race car, and so do we. We're pretty happy. Our Tax Slayer car's been pretty fast all week, so just looking forward to getting going and just have fun today.
Keep an eye on Junior in the 5 car today. Dave Burns?
Another driver looking to cement his legendary status here at Bristol is Kevin Harvick. 5 nationwide wins, plus a Cup and a truck win. And it seems like from the start it was natural for you here, Kevin. Why?
Yeah, it was just one of those places. I grew up at Mesa Marin Raceway back in California. Schrader tells me I'm crazy, but it had a lot of the same characteristics driving style-wise. So it's changed a little bit since then. We've been fortunate to win in the Armour Chevrolet on this particular layout of the racetrack, and hopefully we can do that again today.
Kevin starts 6th. He will also be our in-race reporter today. If you want to join the conversation, log on to ESPN.com and search in-race reporter. Dr. Jerry Punch.
We've talked about some of the legends who've owned this place over the years, names like Yarborough and Earnhardt, of course Wallace and Waltrip. But how about the guy here beside me who has basically been the man in the last few years? Incredible record here with wins here. 5 Sprint Cup victories, including 4 of the last 6. How about 4 NASCAR Nationwide Series wins, 3 in a row? And, of course, he's won 3 of the last 4 times he's been here in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Folks, he has led almost 2,700 laps at this racetrack. Now, Kyle, let's talk about today. Bristol couldn't have come at a better time. How confident are you that with the growing pains of your young team, your first nationwide win can happen today?
I mean, I don't know that we're necessarily ready to win yet, but we're ready for a good run. We just need a solid effort today with the Monster Energy Camry, and being able to practice decent and qualify in the top 10, that's good for us. And, it's about average where I qualify here anyways. But, we'll see how it plays out. There's a bunch of good cars out there. Joey's really good. Brian's seems pretty fast, too. A couple of Chevrolets. So, we'll just try to bide our time and maybe pitch strategy it.
Hey, thanks for your time. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Kyle Busch will roll off 8th, and don't say he's not ready to win here, Nicole. I think he's got a shot in his own team.
Absolutely, but it's interesting to hear him say, it may not be ready to win yet. This is a guy who is the all-time wins leader in this series. He seemingly wins all the time. How can you not expect him to win?
Well, I tell you, when you talk Kyle Busch, just like you say Bristol, you expect to see him in victory lane. Spoke to Kyle, though, and he's really trying to build this race team. He's trying to make it his own gym, but there are a lot of pieces and parts that still need to come along with this race team. A lot of seat time, so he gets experience with the people he's working with, along with his manufacturer. He's just got a lot to grow with. You heard talk about growing pains. Struggling a little bit right now.
Well, Brad, one thing you got to remember, too, is that you talk about pieces and parts in your comment just there. Everything he's driving right now, his own car, are totally different from what he drove with Gibbs. He doesn't have a Gibbs chassis. He doesn't have Gibbs engines. He's got his own chassis. He's using a Triad engines. He's got different pit crews. He has everything different. But one thing he does know of what he needs to win, because he's won so much before. So he'll go back. He'll make some changes, in my opinion, to get this car right. He's been over-driving pretty much. He's had some wrecks. I know that's not the style of driver he is.
And we all expect him just to get in anything and win.
But right now he's struggling. There's no doubt about that.
He's not the only driver who's gone to his own equipment and struggled. Kevin Harvick did it. Won 32 times in RCR equipment, went to KHI equipment, won 5 times. But by the way, his first win in KHI equipment came at this track in March of 2009.
I just don't know. Everybody wonders about pressure for Kyle Busch and how that's going to impact his Cup effort and all those types of things. I don't buy it, and I'll tell you why. He owned a truck last year, and he learned a lot last year, especially at Texas when he had the problem. He raced every single kind of vehicle you can race every single weekend for the last 3 or 4 years. This year he's going to take a step back.
Marty, but he's winning in all those cars. All those cars you just mentioned, he always won.
Yep.
And he still owns the car. He's going to step back.
But he owned the truck, and he's going to take a step back and have greater focus on the Cup deal. What happened last year at Texas was a seminal moment for Kyle Busch, and I'll tell you why. Because Joe Gibbs ain't going to take it anymore.
Well, but you can always have great focus, like Russ said, when you're winning. If he owns that race car and that car is still struggling, it will be an obstacle. It will be something he will have to deal with, because all this guy knows is winning. It will have to be some type of obstacle or impediment.
But coming up soon, he won't be having to deal with that obstacle from within the car, because after California, his brother, Kurt, will be racing a large majority of races.
He still owns it, though.
He does still own it. Coming up next on NASCAR Countdown, Danica Patrick. She's racing today in the bright green. She's feeling very St. Patrick's Day. She will start 27th, and then we'll talk to Elliott Sadler. Is he also racing with a chip on his shoulder? That's next. Tomorrow night, ESPN has an NBA doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, it's LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the Heat hosting Dwight Howard and in-state rival Orlando. Then at 9:30 Eastern, LaMarcus Aldridge and the Trailblazers take on Kevin Durant and the Thunder. The NBA on ESPN, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app Sunday nights. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, the little track with the big banking. 26 to 30 degrees of banking in the corners certainly makes for some very interesting racing, like it or not.
Absolutely.
Elliott Sadler has posted some top fives in every race so far this season. Third, first, third. He's also done very well at this track. He got his first nationwide series win at this track back in March of 1998. And then a few years later, he drove a very famous car, the 21, to victory lane in March of 2001 in the Sprint Cup Series. But this year, some change. He has a new crew chief in the Nationwide Series, and Jamie Little is standing by with Luke Lambert.
And there's been a lot of talk about him, being that this is just his 4th race as a nationwide crew chief. They've led since race 1. So what is it about you and Elliott Sadler that has just clicked so quickly?
It's been I don't know, it's hard to really say. Our relationship kind of started off on the right foot. I feel like we got a lot in common, and I feel like my experience with other drivers I've worked for really relates to Elliott a lot. So I feel like we kind of came together with the good plan from the get-go, and it's really kind of worked from the start. So, and we got a great team here too. So,
and you guys, so far so good this weekend. Quick, you're qualified up front, second row here. What is your plan for the race today?
Well, Elliott's a great driver here, so he kind of knows what he needs to feel in the race car, and I feel like we kind of hit that yesterday in practice, and we hopefully made the right adjustments going into the race, and when it all comes down to it, hopefully we take track position at the right time.
Nicole, here's a little factoid for you. This man right here, Luke Lambert, he was 15 years old the last time Elliott Sadler won in the Nationwide Series here.
Nothing like making your driver feel really old. There's the boss, Richard Childress. I was a little bit older. I'd have been 18. Richard Childress got a couple of cars in the field today, as we mentioned earlier. His grandson in the 3, and then 2 guys competing for the championship, Sadler and Austin Dillon, and oh, by the way, that guy named Kevin Harvick. Change, though, is sometimes really important in sports. We spent a lot of time last year talking about Jeff Gordon and Alan Gustafson. Gustafson being the new blood, the new voice, and being a really good impact and having a good impact on Jeff Gordon. Is that what we're seeing now with Lambert and Sadler?
I totally think that is what it is. What you'll see a lot of times, even in basketball or football or other sports, is they'll fire the coach, and the team will go out that night and play really well. A great example is the New York Knicks. I mean, they were on a 6 or 7 game losing streak. They fire the coach. They go out immediately and win that night. And it's not – all it is changing habits just for a moment, getting your mind to refocus, to reset, and that gives you an opportunity to step up. And I think that's what we got with Elliott Sadler. I think Elliott did a great job last year of taking good care of that race car throughout the season. Didn't win the races we thought he would win. Didn't win the championship we thought he would win. But now he has something to prove, and he's got the pieces and parts to do it.
Well, let's talk to him. Vince is standing by with the driver.
That's right. He's the points leader, already has a win this season. The momentum, is it a real factor? Do you feel momentum as a race team?
Oh, definitely. I think anybody in professional sports feels momentum when it's on your side, and this team's definitely got it right now. They're doing a great job at the shop, bringing us really good equipment each and every week. Our engines from ECR has been great. Everybody on this one main financial team is, I think we're competing at a high level right now. And coming here to Bristol, one of my favorite racetracks, is just another place we can come and think we can excel at. So looking forward to another great day.
A moment ago, Jamie spoke with your crew chief, Luke Lambert. What's been, from a driver's perspective, the key between the synergy between the two of you?
I just think we're a lot alike. We got a lot of the same beliefs in what the race car does. I think we're a lot alike personality-wise. And we both feel like we got a lot to prove. And we want to show everybody we can do this together. And he's made some great calls right now, doing a great job leading this team and making good race adjustments. And our communication, we feel like, is getting better and better each and every week. So right now, we feel like we're all going in the right direction. And we got a really, really fast race car again for today. So try to keep the fenders on it. It is Bristol. Be there at the end and see what we can do.
Elliott Sadler, he'll roll off 4th today, Nicole.
Thanks, guys.
I talked to Elliott this morning for a long time, and he said a couple things that were very poignant to me about last year being a complete and utter failure, disappointment. We all expected him to step back to the Nationwide Series, win several races in a championship, and that flat didn't happen, either of them. So he shows up this year, and he's in a lot better place. And he told me his main goal is to get back to the Sprint Cup Series. And if he is to do that, he has to win a championship in Nationwide. Those are his words. He also told me 2 main reasons that he feels like they have picked up their performance this year. Number one is that they are now in the RCR building. Instead of it being a complete separate building with Kevin Harvick Incorporated, now his cars are being built in the exact same place that Kevin Harvick's Cup cars and Jeff Burton's Cup cars are being built. And he told me that really helped catch them up to the Gibbs and the Roushes of the world. He also gave great praise to his pit crew that is actually the same number 29 pit crew that Kevin Harvick finished 3rd in points with the last 2 years in Cup.
Marty, I will tell you, in my opinion, if Elliott Sadler doesn't even change at all as a driver this year, he will run better this year. I went down to the garage area. I walked up and down pit road. I looked at those cars. Those cars are very nice cars. Look, Kevin's cars last year, Kevin Harvick's, they were beautiful also, but these are nicer yet. And those guys, you can really tell they got a little extra step in them. They're prepared, and they're fully sponsored. That's one of the key things. Elliott's car, Austin Dillon's car, plenty of money right there. And, boy, you can really tell those cars are coming out of a Cup-affiliated race shop.
So is Sadler better, or is the stuff he's in better?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a combination. See, I think Elliott Sadler is capable. I think he's capable of winning a lot of races in this series and win this championship. But I will tell you this, I did believe last year that those Roush cars were the top of the heap. They were the best Nationwide cars, period. And I think that's what he was battling against last year, trying to go toe-to-toe with Ricky Stenhouse.
Well, he'll have to do that again. Yeah. He also has to go toe-to-toe, at least in this race, with Trevor Bayne. It's been an up-and-down week for him. At first, he wasn't going to be in the race, but guess what? He's there, and he's starting second. Dave?
with Trevor Bayne now, and you have qualified on the front row here, boys. So how are you excited about today?
I'm really excited about it. This car has been fast all weekend long. I'm not sure which lane Joey's going to take yet. He said he's going to mess with me and take the outside, but we'll take the bottom. It's a good starting spot, and it's just been really cool to see it come together with Crawdads and YourRaceCar.com. To see it start on Monday with not coming to the track to being here qualifying on the outside of the front row, I think my guys have done a great job, and we're ready to keep it going here.
Tennessee native Trevor Bayne in the show today and hoping to close it out with a big finish. Nicole?
Thank you. You know, whenever we come to this track, we always get into the conversation of the new Bristol versus the old Bristol. Like it or not, though, it has put a few other drivers into the mix.
A lot of times, oh, indeed, it absolutely has. And it's funny, this dynamic. You're right. Every time we come back here, that's the new debate. And sometimes what fans love is what drivers hate or competitors hate, and vice versa. This is the consummate example of that, because what the old Bristol was that the fans adored so much was a one-groove racetrack. You stuffed it on the bottom, and if you wanted to pass somebody, you had to move them out of the way or wreck them. Now, the competitors have at least 2 lanes and sometimes 3 from which to choose to make their car work.
You're right. Take a look at that. It's progressive. 26 degrees on the bottom, up to 30 degrees on the very top. And what that means is that now this new track, you got a wider track. The guys can run on the bottom, the middle, the top. Before, like you said, it was just on the bottom, which I kind of like it that way.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we're good at it.
Brad, it's a little better right now. There's no doubt about that.
What happens is, Rusty, and it brings a lot more people, a lot more of the competitors into the mix. You know, the old racetrack was a one-groove racetrack, and guys, like you say, Marty, you had to move people out of the way, but the guys would check out. Now, everyone is racing around everyone, and you have some guys who may not have had an opportunity then who are in the mix, guys and gals. And
it's funny when you hear fans talking about it, it comes down to, do you like the wrecking or do you like the racing? And that's generally how the old and the new is compared. Last year, it's hard to find an edge. Last year, we saw that edge discovered on pit road. Take a look at the 2 and the 17. This is in the Sprint Cup race. Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth both did this. They used pit road, and this is how they got it done.
Yeah, this is hard to watch. Watch Brad Keselowski in the Miller Lite car up the top right of your screen right there. I mean, this was amazing what I was seeing. Watch him accelerate really hard. Keep an eye on this. He picks the throttle up right there, and watch him pass all these cars. All the competitors are going, what's he doing? Well, there was no timing lines there. Nobody was really paying attention to where those timing lines were, and he took advantage of it, and he won that race. But this year, big changes.
NASCAR is now wise to those techniques. How it was last year, it no longer exists anymore. You cannot speed on pit road like that anymore. Let's take a look at it. That's how it was last year. Those are the segments. NASCAR has said, we're going to add a few lines.
Yeah, and as you can see, there's no way in the world that you're going to be able to get up to speed in those shorter period of times to speed like that. So
you had 12 last year, now you have 4 to 6. Who do you like today before we get ready to go?
I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets the victory lane.
Oh, I think Kevin Harvick's going to win this race. He's got so much knowledge of this particular racetrack. I think that number 33, Kevin Harvick, in my opinion.
Give me the 38. I think Casey Kane looks pretty sporty.
Will be very interesting to see indeed. By the way, the honorary starter for today's race, Carl Edwards. And fans, for you, check out Race Buddy. It's enhanced coverage for select nationwide series races with more camera views than ever. Log on to NASCARNationwideSeries.com/Race Buddy. I'll tell you what, it is about to get loud in Thunder Valley. 300 laps.
Get busy up in
coming up from Bristol when we come back.
I'm going to go jump in that green lake.
The speeds never slow, the turns never end, and the traffic never thins.
One up against the wall. Flags out. Come on.
It's hypnotic, chaotic, at speeds that feel supersonic. Oh yeah, it's Bristol.
A little half-mile bull ring with turns banked like Daytona or Talladega. That's Bristol, where the NASCAR Nationwide Series is set for 300 laps of fast and frantic racing. Top stories on the day, we go to pit road. Here's Vince Welch.
For Kyle Busch, the Nationwide Series has been a struggle so far. 3 straight finishes outside the top 10, the first time that's happened since 2008. But Bristol is Kyle's playground. He's won in the Nationwide Series each of the last 3 races here, albeit in JGR equipment. A good finish today would be a huge lift for Kyle and his KBM team. Jerry Punch?
For Tennessee native Trevor Bain, Bristol is very special. Folks, when he was 5 years old, his parents pulled him out of kindergarten, made the 90-minute drive from Knoxville to meet his childhood hero, Jeff Gordon. When he was 15 years old, he was leading a Pro Cup race here with 10 laps to go, only to be spun by a veteran who said, "I can't lose to that talented kid." Back in Tuesday, he didn't know he was coming. Today, he starts on the front row. What would it mean for this young man to win at a home track where he dreamed of great things growing up? Let's go trackside for opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please continue standing and remove your hats as the Cherokee High School Junior ROTC presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Dr. Greg Jordan, president of King College, offers today's invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for the NASCAR community, for their generous care of others. We're thankful for the Speedway Motorsports sponsorship of the Speedway Children's Charities. We're thankful too, Lord, for our armed services that have protected us in the past and in the present. And we pray that you would give us great racing weather for the rest of the day. And we pray that our teams race well and race safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
In honor of our troops, please place your hand over your heart and welcome recording artist Monroeville as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And so for the 60th time, the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets set to go racing in Thunder Valley at Bristol Motor Speedway. We're just moments away from the command to start engines. And from high atop this spectacular racing stadium, happy St. Patrick's Day and welcome to ESPN's exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Alan Bestwick with former Bristol winning driver Dale Jarrett and actually Bristol winning driver Andy Petrie. Yeah, but that was a celebrity race, so we'll call you champion crew chief Andy Petrie. With all due respect to Daytona or Indianapolis or Darlington, if I said to you the degree of difficulty for the driver and car at this racetrack was the highest on the circuit. What would you say?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's so fast and furious here. The lap times go around here in 16 seconds. You got high banks. You can't get out of the way here. I mean, it might seem like there's a lot of room out here, and this racetrack's going to widen out, but things happen so fast and furious that it just makes it almost impossible. So the degree of difficulty for these drivers, especially young drivers, is going to be very high today.
Yeah, and the degree of difficulty for the crew chiefs to set these cars up is the same way, because you've really got hardly any room for error there either, because if you are off just a little bit, I'm talking about a tenth of a second, you're in the way. And just like Dale said, it's almost impossible to get out of the way. And so you got to have the car set up right, and you got to maintain that track position, because it is so difficult to pass here. I mean, you can see some of the things that can happen. There's just not any room, period.
One little slip. That's all it takes to set off some mayhem, and we'll see plenty of it. French.
You know, the speeds are just so high and the racing's so tight, and you have such little reaction time. When these things happen, it might look like you should miss some of these things, but sometimes it's just totally impossible.
And by the way, typical thing we'll see at Bristol, a driver not happy with another driver after one of those wall-banging incidents. Let's see who gets upset with a fellow competitor during the course of today's race. Now, so far this season, the NASCAR Nationwide Series has been a year of opportunity. 3 races won by non-Sprint Cup drivers. But this Bristol track has been dominated over the years by the Sprint Cup guys. Is this an opportunity race, or does experience win out today?
Well, it's going to be an opportunity, but the experience is going to win out. I mean, it's just a lot of good drivers in this field. You got Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. I mean, they lead all these drivers with wins. And even Elliott Sadler, he's a nationwide only driver, but he's won here before. I think you're going to see that experience really pay off today.
I think that means a lot, but I think I still hear opportunity knocking for some of these guys. Allgaier, Bain, Dillon, I think that they think that this is a chance for them to steal a win here today.
Going to be fun finding out as the NASCAR Nationwide Series goes racing in Thunder Valley. The engines fire next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Call now to get a quote. And Can-Am ATVs and side-by-side vehicles.
The field of starters in today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Bristol Motor Speedway. Assembled along the front stretch pit lane, the drivers are buckled aboard. The crews have gone back to their workstations to get ready to go. All we need now are those famous words.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Group Vice President of Global Marketing, Sales, and Service from Ford, Mr. Jim Farley, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Welcome to the Ford Ecoboost 300. Drivers, start your engines!
We're locked, belt tight. Go.
Ready for racing at Bristol. Fans, check out Race Buddy, enhanced coverage for select Nationwide Series races with more cameras than ever. 8 HD camera angles, the free scanner, live chat, live leaderboard, the DVR. Log on to NASCARNationwideSeries.com/racebuddy for more. Yes, I was hurrying because things happen fast here at Bristol, including the pace laps, during which we'll talk with our in-race reporter for today, Kevin Harvick. Won more of these Nationwide Series races at this track than anybody else. We'll hear from him on the pace laps next.
At this place, where most timidly try to avoid trouble, there are those confident few who prefer to attack. They embrace the sound and fury, just as they embrace the trophy at day's end.
Rusty Wallace wins!
Thunder Valley doesn't bring them down. They bring down the thunder.
And as the field rolls onto the racetrack here in Thunder Valley for today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race, one of those legends in this division at this racetrack is Kevin Harvick. More wins than anyone else, 5 all-time. Kevin is our ESPN in-race reporter for this afternoon's race. And while you see the starting lineup come across the top of the screen, let's dial them up, DJ.
Kevin, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy? 4. Hey, Kevin, our first question comes from our mailbag, and Paula in Council Bluff, Iowa, asked, what is it about Bristol Motor Speedway that makes you so successful here?
And this Nationwide car, we've been pretty fortunate to have a lot of success. I grew up on a kind of a high bank half-mile racetrack back at home in Bakersfield, California. So a lot of those same characteristics used to apply. Tracks changed a little bit since then, but we've had a lot of success in this Armor Chevrolet, and hopefully we can do the same today.
Hey, Kevin, as you approach this race today, not having to worry about points or anything like that, just the trophy and getting that checkered flag first, does that allow you as a driver to take some more chances and also on pit calls?
I mean, we're here for one reason, and that's to win the race. Top 5 or top 10 is great, but we want to win.
All right, Kevin, thanks for talking with us. Have a great day.
All right, guys, thank you.
Kevin Harvick getting set to go from row number 3, the 6th starting position today. Kevin's front tire carrier, Austin Craven, for Richard Childress Racing's our over-the-wall reporter today. Austin going to carry us into the action in the tight confines of the Bristol pit road. Have a great day, Austin.
Thanks, man.
Boy, we've got some great onboard camera views for you today. Potentially, you could ride with one of these drivers right up into victory lane. Elliott Sadler with our Chevy on board. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Goodyear camera. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with the Ford Ecoboost on board. Danica Patrick with GoDaddy.com. Brad Kozlowski, the StandUpToCancer.org camera. Justin Allgaier's Nationwide Insurance cam. Kevin Harvick's American Ethanol camera. And Trevor Bayne with the Nationwide Insurance camera starting on the front row. Defending series champion and last week's winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. lined up in row number 2.
Remember, this is Bristol. Things happen fast. Things are loud. You're going to have trouble hearing each other. You got to be on top of your game. Everyone here, let's have some fun. Points race, points race, points race. If we get the most points, that's the end of the day. Points race all day long here.
Mike Kelly talking to his driver, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, I think Ricky Stenhouse is thinking about points racing and that he'll get the most if he gets the checkered flag first.
Yeah, but you got to get there, and that's what Mike Kelly's talking about.
Expected to be a 2 pit stop race. There are pit lanes along the front and back stretch at this racetrack, different than any other track on the circuit. Talk more about that as we get set to go with pit stops for today. Joey Logano starting on the pole. In that Joe Gibbs Racing 18, he's chosen the outside lane. He came within a whisker of winning the last race here last August. Can he come out on top this time? And the local favorite, Trevor Bayne, as of Monday, wasn't even going to be in this race. Jack Roush and the Roush Fenway team pulled together an entry for him, and he's on the front row as we get set to go racing for 300 laps in Tennessee. Logano gets the lead. Brad Kozlowski in that 22 had all kind of trouble in turn 2 on the first lap, but got it straightened out.
Yeah, kind of stacked things up right behind Brad, but all going well so far. This racetrack really widened out with the last Sprint Cup practice we had here, so we're going to see these drivers be able to utilize 2 and 3 groups here today.
It's always the most nervous part of the race for me as a crew chief. You see right here, 31 car gets out of the groove some. So all these cars are on top of each other, and the track's really not cleaned off yet.
For third place, Stenhouse in the 6, around Sadler in the 2.
They just had a Sprint Cup Series practice, and they go back and sweep the track, which gets most of the big stuff, but it leaves a lot of dust on the racetrack, so it's a little slick the first few laps.
54, Kyle Busch, 11, Brian Scott. Side by side for 6th and 7th. Kyle's won the last 3 nationwide races here.
Yeah, and even though there's 2 or 3 grooves here, and the bottom used to be the preferred and only way around here to try to win, it's going to be difficult to make a pass on the bottom side here today.
But that's the thing. I think you got to have a car that can do that, because that outside lane, as this track gets rubber on it, it's going to be very, very hard to go down there. Everybody will be up top. You're going to have a car that'll work on the bottom to make those passes. See, Austin Dillon gets a spot.
Dillon in the 3, James Busher in the 30, 88 Cole Witt, and that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5 today.
What makes that bottom pass even more difficult with these nationwide cars versus the Cup cars is that lack of horsepower that you have. That tapered spacer just makes it so difficult when you get in the throttle and you could jump up beside someone and try to get that position. You can't do that in these cars.
See right here, I mean, this is Brian Scott working the outside lane, Kyle Busch on the inside. They've lost a little bit of contact to the other cars. You can see that it looks like Kyle's got a faster car, but it's just hard to make this pass.
And Justin Allgaier there in the 31 joining that group.
And that becomes very frustrating as a driver when you know that you're faster and you look in your mirror. Here's a couple of cars. We see Brad Keselowski get really loose off of turn 2.
Now that's exactly what happened to him on the very first lap off of turn number 2, and he was in traffic in the low lane. Everybody around him had to scatter, and everybody did a really nice job, including Brad, to keep from having a lot of mayhem.
There's Casey Kane. Marty Smith picked him as his favorite. Gonna have to pass a few cars to get to the front. Man, you can see that. Look at him sawing that wheel, Keselowski.
Talking to these drivers yesterday, this tire that's here is a little bit different this time. They were having a difficult time in getting a real handle on it, and it just doesn't seem to have quite as much grip.
It's a different construction. The rubber on the tire is the same as they ran here the last time, but it does seem now like it does have less grip if you look at the lap times, but it looks like it's going to hold up good over the long haul. We'll see how it works out.
Thing that always stands out to me when we ride on board with someone like we had just done with Brad there is you listen to how little time in a lap they're off the gas. Even though it's a little half-mile racetrack, you're on it.
Yeah, what happens is these cars pick up all that banking, and it gives the tires so much more grip that they don't have to be out of the throttle very long, and they can carry that speed through the middle.
Austin Dillon picking up that spot. Now Casey Kane into 38, left to defend with James Busher and Cole Witt.
Yeah, that picture right there of 5 cars, just a lot of experience there with Dale Jr. and Casey Kane, but a lot of young drivers making their mark in this series too.
Nothing's changed up front. Joey Logano leading. Trevor Bayne is second. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick, the top 5. Leaders are already into lap traffic early at Bristol. Early at Bristol, Joey Logano leads. You're looking ahead from the second place runner, Trevor Bayne. Caution free so far. The leaders already working through some heavy lap traffic.
Yeah, caution free is not a lack of trying though on some of the cars.
Elliott Sadler in his 2 car. He's got a good car. Caught this heavy traffic just a few laps ago. Ran right in the back of Joey Gase in his 39. See, looked like he'd run down Ricky Stenhouse. Pretty good little lick there.
Yeah. And had Kevin Harvick pursuing him, so he couldn't really afford to break the momentum.
See Sadler back on Ricky Stenhouse now. He'd let him go a little bit early. I don't know if he let him go, but Ricky was a little quicker and was able to get by Sadler, but he's running back down now and really making this high line work.
Side-by-side lap cars just in front of these two. I'm sorry, not lap cars. That's Trevor Bayne trying to put a lap on Mike Wallace in the 0-1. Mike had gotten into the wall in practice here yesterday, and the team had to do some pretty serious cosmetic work on the right side of that 01 car.
Yeah, as did a few other cars. So this racetrack gets some rubber down. It's extremely slick, and they had the new tires, so a few of them battled that issue.
Makes just slight contact right there, Elliott Sadler did with Mike Wallace.
Just behind Sadler, right there, Kyle Busch has gotten around Kevin Harvick to pick up 5th spot. Look at this knot of traffic here as Dale Earnhardt Jr. tries to gain positions, but also work some of the lap cars at the same time. That's Jr. in the 5.
Another thing that can be very frustrating as a driver, you work and get yourself in a position to make a pass, and then here you run up on the lap traffic, and they're in the lane that you've been utilizing and trying to make that pass.
James Busher, the Daytona winner in the 30. Busher running in 12th, Junior in 13th. Thought Junior might make his way forward a little more quickly than this.
Watched him yesterday in practice, and what I saw was quite a bit of struggling with this car. Looked like trying to get the car hooked up as good as what Junior was wanting it to make speed.
7th place here, Brian Scott in the 11. Brad Keselowski in the 22. Brad, a former winner here. Brian, a guy who hopes to be a winner here.
Yeah, and man, Brian Scott's had some fast race cars, and just unfortunate things happen. Got loose last weekend at Las Vegas, and was running right up front and led laps there. But good solid run here today so far.
Keselowski running in 8th, Vince.
They've been real happy with their race cars so far this season, and pretty happy today. Says it's a little tight in center and then free back on throttle, but says the car is manageable. Probably good news early on for the 22.
Well, we've seen him make those slides a couple times, but I guess manageable is you saved it.
Well, yeah, sometimes, too, you have that tightness in the center. That can create the loose off. So if he can fix that center part a little bit, he might find that he's not as free off the corner then.
Yeah, you can see he's sawing the wheel right there, trying to turn underneath Brian Scott. When you have that wheel and so much angle in it, when that car takes that bite and that front end finally does grab, then the back end breaks loose, like you say, and you're spinning the wheels off the corner.
You also have to be careful not to get it too free. You see now he's going to try this topside, see if he can get by Brian Scott before they get to Mike Wallace.
Like Mike Wallace might decide this battle.
Justin Allgaier, 31, kind of lurking there. Oh, going to have a little 3 wide or force Wallace into the low lane.
Oh, that was a great move by Keselowski to force his way up to the top lane and make Mike Wallace go down one.
In Sprint Cup practice, there was no one running higher than Brad Keselowski was in his 2 car there. So I think that he was very comfortable in going up that high on the track.
Allgaier, as we ride with him, former winner here in that 31 car. I'd sure like to get back to victory lane in this race today. So, talking about things happening fast here, somebody getting a different view on how fast things happened at Bristol today is Carl Edwards. He waved the green flag for today's race from the flag stand. He's kind of stayed up there for a while to get a look at a different view of the action in Thunder Valley.
It's a good seat.
Back live, Bristol Motor Speedway. Joey Logano in that 18 car is the leader. He has just put Danica Patrick in the 7 and Joe Nemechek in the 87 a lap down. They're running 23rd and 24th. Second time around here at Bristol for Danica. Started off a lot further ahead than where she started the last time. Talking to her crew chief Tony Eury Jr. yesterday.
Yeah, I spoke with her actually after her first practice, and she said she just felt more comfortable in giving information, and I think it's showing up. This is a difficult place. I mean, she's never raced on anything like this. You know, the one time that she was here last year, that was a learning experience, but you just gotta. It's just such a different animal.
Second place driver Trevor Bayne there trying to find a way to the inside. And Kyle Busch trying to get that spot from Trevor Bayne while we watch from the back bumper. Jamie's got an update for us.
Well, Danica Patrick told me yesterday her first and only time here at Bristol, she really overdrove the corner. So yesterday in practice, she hung behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. and watched his line and learned a lot. So far, she hasn't said a word on the radio. It's been all spotter. Alan?
Okay, Jamie, thanks. Been very impressed with that 54 of Kyle Busch. Marching his way forward steadily, 1 car at a time.
Boy, something that he and Mike Beam with that race team sure do need right now, Andy.
They do. I spent a lot of time with Mike this morning, and, you know, the thing is Kyle knows what he wants in a race car, and this is one of these tracks I think it's a little easier for him to get that. We talked about, you know, some of these aero programs, engine programs. Some of that stuff is not as critical here as the handling, and Kyle knows exactly what he needs, and they feel like they've changed some things on the car suspension-wise that are giving it to him.
Kyle started back in 8th position. He's about to get 2nd from Trevor Bayne. Move the 3-time defending winner here at Bristol up to the runner-up spot.
It's kind of interesting as everybody talked on our shows there this morning that we really didn't mention Kyle Busch just because of the struggles, but
some of us did.
Some of them, yeah.
6 of Stenhouse Jr. running 4th. Elliott Sadler in the 2-5th. Kevin Harvick in the 33 6th. Dave?
Teammates there racing very close, Alan. Sadler will hang on to that inside spot. They might make it 3 wide around there. Sadler's car earlier, remember, ran into the back of Joey Gase's car. I did check with crew chief Luke Lambert to make sure there was no problem. He gave me the A-OK sign. No damage to the 2 that they're concerned with.
All right, Dave, thanks.
Well, Harvick split the middle. I think Kevin Harvick has a really good car. I think he's just been sitting, kind of being very, very patient, not doing anything crazy, kind of letting the race come to him. I believe we'll see this 33 up front whenever it counts.
Harvick by Sadler. into 5th place.
Had to do a lot of work on this 33 yesterday, though. He was not happy with this race car when they first unloaded and went through first in the most practice, making a lot of changes.
If anybody knows what he wants a car to feel like at Bristol, it's Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, very similar to the same thing I said about Kyle Busch. I mean, even if you unload and you're not right at a short track like this, when you have those kind of drivers in the seat, you still can get there. I mean, you just got to keep working on it, and he'll tell you when you get close and when you get there. It's like Kevin Harvick's got a little more of what he's looking for today.
5-time winner here at Bristol in the Nationwide Series. Kevin's only driven one Nationwide Series race so far this year. That was at Phoenix. He led the most laps in that one. Little strategy shuffle ended up costing him a chance at the win. A win that, ironically, his teammate Elliott Sadler in that too wound up taking in the second race of the season. Joey Logano leads. Kevin Harvick is running in 5th. The all-time leading winner in the Nationwide Series here in Thunder Valley, and hoping to get up front, challenge for another. Reminder, the American Le Mans Series Mobil 1, 12 hours of Sebring. See coverage noon Eastern tomorrow on ABC, and then next weekend it's on to California. And for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, we'll have coverage of qualifying for you 1:30 Eastern next Saturday, and the race at 5 Eastern next Saturday. Note, qualifying's on ESPN2. The race is on ESPN. Longest green flag stretch ever to start a race at Bristol is this one. We're caution-free so far through 75 laps, and we have our second leader of the race, Kyle Busch, as Sam Hornish bounces off the wall in that 12, being put a lap down by Kyle Busch. As in most things Kyle does, his taking the lead from Joey Logano left us all going, wow.
See, this is going into turn 3. Looked like, I'm pretty sure Logano thought that he was okay on the bottom side as they came up on Mike Wallace also.
So Kyle chipping his way forward from his starting spot in the 8th position and becomes the second leader of this race. Last 3 races here at Bristol in the Nationwide Series, Kyle Busch led 71% of the laps. All of those in the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas. Now he's driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, a story we've been following all season long. So far, Jamie, today's working out the best of all of them.
It really is, and Mike Bemis, crew chief, told me this is the best they've unloaded. They had yet to run up front until now. Mike Beam told me his biggest concern for this race is the pressure on his pit crew. They don't know how to perform under pressure together just yet, so that's something to watch for on this round of pit stops coming up. Alan?
I'll tell you, though, as a pit crew member, what gets you really up is have your car out front like this. Sometimes, it really does seem that your pit stops will be quicker, better when you have a car that's leading like this. You feel like you have to step up your game also as a pit crew member.
Yeah, but it's really an unknown so far because, they've been out early in some races. They haven't had to really step up. At Daytona, a lot of it was just 2 tires and things, or no tires, just getting fuel. So this big stage here today, so we'll see how they perform now that they have what looks like the best car out here.
Here's Joey Logano running in second now in the 18 car after starting on the pole. They've put a little bit of distance on a pretty good race for 3rd place. Trevor Bayne in the 60 and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 6. Story with this 60 team, of course, they were going to run the first 3 races of the season. And if they didn't have any sponsorship materialize, that was going to be it. On Monday, Mike Kelly, the crew chief for Stenhouse Jr. in the 6, who've been preparing all these cars for Trevor Bayne, got a call saying, come to work, 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. And they jumped on this 60 car, prepared cars for both here and for next weekend's race out in California.
Trevor Bayne right in the middle of the points battle for this, so it'd be a shame for them not to be ready and prepared, and you have to give it credit to all of that nationwide team that they have and all of the employees to make all of this happen in a very timely fashion.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 5, Austin Dillon in the 3. Check that, that's Brian Scott in the 11, and Casey Kane in the 38. That's for 9th and 10th.
I'm surprised Casey Kane's not a little farther up. I expected him to be one of the early contenders here.
His car seems to be better now. He started this race off extremely loose. Just looked like he had no grip whatsoever and couldn't be very aggressive. And he lost quite a few of the spots that he's now taking back.
We've seen this 38 in this scrum back in the pack around 10th place for quite some time in this race, Doc.
Yeah, well, he just can't go anywhere. And Dale Jarrett, you're exactly right. What Casey said was, guys, the front end was supposed to come to me in the first 20 laps, and right now the front end is terrible. Going in the corner, the front will not grip, and coming off, he can't hold the front end. So trying to work traffic in that situation, a driver's got his hands full. Right, DJ?
You got that right. Yeah, you just can't be aggressive and make the passes that you need. You know, you've got to be able to carry that momentum to make the passes. Even on lap cars, it makes it difficult.
So Casey Kane, after starting in 12th position, has only moved up to 9th in the opening now 90 laps of this race. Let's talk pit stops, Andy. We've gone green for a long time here. What's the furthest they can run?
Yeah, they could go about 150s, maybe even 160 laps, but I talked to Mike Beam. He said that they would probably make a pit stop over, like now if the caution comes out somewhere between 80 and 100 laps, they'd like to make a stop and look at these tires. Looks like the tires are holding up well, so we'll see how long they can go on them.
Kevin Harvick up to 4th, Trevor Bayne back to 5th, all behind Kyle Busch. Out in front today at Bristol in his 54 car. Amidst the scenic hills of East Tennessee sits Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway, where Kyle Busch has been rumbling in his 54 car, charging up to the front from his starting spot back in row number 4 to take the lead before we hit the 1/3 mark of this race. It's the Ford Ecoboost 300 at Bristol, Tennessee for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Make sure you go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. 2 leaders, no caution flags. So far, Joey Logano led the first 67 laps. Kyle Busch has been out in front since lap 68. We saw Trevor Bayne a minute ago lose a spot to Kevin Harvick. Watch this contact between Bayne and the 24 car of Benny Gordon.
One more lap of you watching. Keep coming to the bottom. Go outside. Go out there. Keep coming. Come on.
And while we watch that, the caution flag is out for the first time in this race. Look at the damage on that 60 car.
Yeah, it's banged up pretty good, but his car really never lost any speed. I mean, he lost those spots and lost a little distance, but then it seemed to come back pretty well.
Caution came out for Joey Gase. You would see the right side of his car has some pretty significant damage. Watch the top of the screen.
Out of the groove. No grip up there.
No, it's almost like the right front tire could have possibly been going down a little bit there. I don't know that it's totally that it blew out, but it looked like it could have gotten a little soft right there.
Well, it could be that, or maybe even a suspension part or something there caused that, but it did go pretty straight out of the groove.
Remember, with the 2 pit lanes here at Bristol, under caution to equalize the difference between the front stretch and back stretch pits, all the cars enter the pit lane off of turn number 2, go all the way down the back stretch pit lane, come around, go all the way down the front stretch pit lane before rejoining the racetrack. You see Kyle Busch there leading the field of pit road for the first time today. Vince?
For Brad Keselowski, he just wants more stability through the corner, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment and go down 1 round on the track bar. 4 tires. Doc?
Trevor Bayne, free in, free off, tight in the middle. He said once he got contact with a slower car, the entry was actually better. Half-pound air right front, track bar down in the rear, trying to help the entry. Jamie.
And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. saying he's too loose. They're going to take a spring rubber out in the right rear, track bar down. He's running hot about 260. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch in the 54 in the middle of your screen. Remember, pressure on this pit crew to perform. They'll take some wedge out. 4 tires. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Dave?
Early leader Joey Logano, his car has swung the entire spectrum, loose, tight, now just a little bit loose in the middle. He'll get 4 tires, wedge, and air pressure adjustment, and it looks like his pit crew picks him up.
Lead change there on the pit stops. Joey Logano is going to go back to the point barely, but he will have Kyle Busch alongside him for the restart when we come back to Thunder Valley. First caution of the race out at Bristol in today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race came out one lap shy of setting the all-time mark here at Bristol for consecutive green flag laps. Missed it by one.
One lap.
And we are one lap away from going back racing. 3 speeding penalties on the pit lane. Austin Dillon speeding on pit road. Ryan Truex speeding on pit road. Brian Scott speeding on pit road. They'll go from 13th, 12th, and 11th to the tail end of the line for the restart. Looking at Sam Hornish Jr. on the racetrack, watch this yellow car leaving its pit stall a minute ago. Conditions are tight on the racetrack. They're tight on the pit road here at Bristol as well.
I don't know how many times we've seen that here. Coming out of your pit stall, just don't have enough room. Wow. That's a close call right there. I hope he's okay. Looks like he is. He's going around to finish his pit stop. Sam's hit quite a few things today.
Yeah. This has been a difficult track for him and a difficult weekend so far for Hornish as well, but obviously everybody up and okay. Little
see the dent in the top of the fender, I think.
Yeah.
Probably came from that contact there on pit road with the crew member.
James Busher was the lucky dog. Restart just waved off by NASCAR to reset the restart order of the cars who were speeding on the pit stop.
Yeah, it's just this track is so short. There's not hardly any time on that one lap to get everybody lined up when they double up. So sometimes they do take that time to go another lap and make sure everybody's in the right space.
So again, Dillon, Truex, and Scott giving up 11th, 12th, and 13th, but so many cars been put a lap down, it doesn't really hurt them.
Yeah, except it puts them behind all of the lap down cars too. They're at the very tail end, so they'll have to race really hard and smart not to get a lap down here if we have another long run.
So Joey Logano got the lead on the pit lane. He's chosen the outside lane for the start. He's got Kyle Busch to his inside in the 54. Here we go. Was close.
Yes, it was in a number of ways, yeah. Joe Logano put a lot of faith in Kyle Busch being able to keep his car around the bottom of the track. Now Elliott Sadler taking advantage of that high line and going by Kyle for second.
Looks like Kyle's going to get stuck in that bottom lane. You got Harvick, you even got Trevor Bayne behind him. There's not a hole for him to move up into unless he can get going here.
Kevin Harvick, 33. And Trevor Bayne in the 60. Racing with Kyle.
Finally falls in line right there behind Trevor Bayne.
I find that pretty fascinating how, you know, for so many years here, it was hug the bottom, hug the bottom, hug the bottom, and if you wanted to pass the guy, you had to use the bumper to move him off the bottom. Now we're seeing
the fender.
Yeah. Allgaier in the 31, Keselowski in the 22.
Yeah.
Now, that outside lane is, at least today, appearing to be the faster way.
Yeah, and that's where the progressive banking comes in, being able to utilize that and keep momentum up, especially with these cars, as we talked earlier, about not having the amount of horsepower that the Cup cars have.
Yep, 41 car, Blake Cook. Got some smoke from under that one.
Hey, back it down, back it down, back it down.
We stay under green. This is for 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th positions from the 31 car of Allgaier on back.
I tell you, Justin Allgaier was giving Keselowski a fit there. I don't know if they had something going on in that restart or what, but Allgaier was going after him. Looks like Keselowski got the better of him, though.
See Dale Jr. in that mix there, too. He lost a number of spots on pit road, slid in his pit. He stayed in the pit box, but he got a little too close to the wall, and they had a hard time in making the change on the left side tires.
Earnhardt Jr. running back in 9th for the moment. Mentioned Justin Allgaier, 31. There's Stenhouse in the 6th, working on him.
Tried to go in the other county and come back and make that pass.
Let's go back and have a look at what you were talking about with Allgaier and Keselowski.
Yeah, Allgaier just was not giving this up easily, man. I mean, he really wanted this spot. I don't know if maybe they had made contact on the restart, but he would not. He just wouldn't let him by. Vince?
Well, and Brad Keselowski told his spotter, Joey Meyer, to go down and talk to Allgaier's spotter, because Keselowski said if he hits me one more time, and he was given the warning, so he had had enough of Allgaier rubbing the fender. Remember, these guys used to be teammates at Penske.
Yeah, it used to be, Vince. They're not today.
That's something you hear a lot of here at Bristol. Don't tell his spotter.
That's right. It's just a sign the spotter should carry. Put the number on it.
Yeah. The warning board?
Yes.
I got your number. Number 18 is atop the leaderboard right now. Joey Logano driving. New developments here at Bristol. Kyle Busch just on pit road under the green flag, Jamie.
He had a right side tire going down. He said since the restart he's been plowing terribly. All of a sudden he said, guys, I'm coming. They've changed the right side tires. He's down and away.
Jamie Thanks was running 5th at the time. We'll see as he gets back up to speed on the track how far behind it puts him.
And we'll see if it really was the right side. Sometimes that can fool you here.
Looks like Kyle is going to go all the way back to 22nd place. And he's going to be, what, about a lap and a half down to the race leader.
It's loose, right front.
Right front was loose. Is that what they're saying? Sound like maybe a wheel loose instead of a tire going down. Does that feel the same? I don't know what it feels like, Dale, but it can't be good.
No, it's not. And it'll give you that same type of issue until the vibration will give you a better indication of what it is exactly, but it will slide a lot like you have a tire going down.
Watching this race for 3rd, Trevor Baynes 60, Kevin Harvick 33.
I was really concerned, and I know Trevor said that it didn't hurt his car after that contact with the 24 back in that first run, but I was concerned that it might have knocked the toe end out or something like that on this car. If it did, it helped it. They should check it when they go back to the
Well, it probably did.
shop.
I mean, it probably changed it some, but it could have been in the right direction. And I tell you, I've learned a lot of things like that by accident. A lot more things than I've probably learned on purpose.
That is
That's the right front, looks
Kyle
like.
Busch's car.
That wheel's loose.
Yeah.
You see it wallowed out in there. We just spoke about their pit crew and getting the job done.
Yeah, just I mean, that's the easy thing to do, to leave a wheel loose. You just got to stay on those lug nuts just that extra split second to make sure they're tight. And, you know, like I say, when the pressure's on, it sometimes makes you go a little faster than you need to be going.
So again, Kyle a lap and a half down in 22nd place, and he's about the 7th or 8th car a lap down. He's got some work to do to get himself in position for the free pass. It's the Ford Ecoboost 300 at Bristol. Remember to check out Race Buddy, enhanced coverage for NASCAR Nationwide Series select races with more cameras than ever. Log on to NASCARNationwideSeries.com/RaceBuddy. Justin Allgaier 31, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 6th, 4th, 6th, and 7th place.
This battle's been going on about 12, 14 laps, and I think Justin Allgaier's right in the line that Ricky Stenhouse would love to be running and getting the most speed out of his car. That's what Bristol's about.
So what do you do? He's got your line. What do you do?
You've got two choices. You can choose one of the other lines, or you can move him out of that line.
And we've seen a lot of that here over the years, haven't we?
I think I saw Dale throw a helmet here one time.
Yeah.
Is that somebody taking your line?
It's pretty good. Pretty good
Something like
too.
that. Yeah. Get the target.
Yeah, it was a good throw.
You've been talking about how you race at Bristol and the new Bristol versus the old Bristol. The Bristol master, Rusty Wallace, sitting over in our ESPN pit studio. And Rusty, that's kind of it, huh? You either move him or find a way around him.
Well, they got a little bit more room out there right now, Alan, with this new design track than they had with the older track, but the principle's still the same. You've got to make your passes up off the corner. That seems like where most of the guys are making the passes. But I'll tell you, tempers are incredible at this place. You got to manage your tempers, but you can only put up with ever so long. If the guy doesn't move, you got to get him in a quarter panel, get him out of your way and move on, because things happen so fast at Bristol. If you give a guy too many breaks, you're going to get yourself lapped, and the lead car is going to pull away from you, and man, that doesn't work. But it's still Bristol, and I love this joint.
Rusty, I see some of these drivers now with the new configuration of this, drive this differently than what you did. And you were talking about you still got to do it the same, get that drive up off the corner, and that's where you beat everybody. But we see a lot of them now set their cars up to run so hard into the corner, and now they're struggling to make this pass on the exit.
Well, it seems like it, Dale. I mean, one thing I do notice, these guys are doing what I call diamond in the corner. They're running up high right there, and they kind of shooting back down towards the middle or bottom of the racetrack, trying to keep that momentum up. I mean, if I was driving this car, I'd be working as hard as I can to try to get it hooked up in the bottom, like Ricky Stenhouse is doing right there, because it's still the shortest way around the racetrack, and I'm a firm believer that on the bottom is where you're going to win the races.
Might be able to pin him in behind a lap car right here. Well, or not.
Looks like he's still going to get a good run off the corner, though, and he gets him cleared.
Nice job by Kevin LePage to give those guys some racing room. By the way, Kevin in that 28 car today. Joey Logano got Elliott Sadler a couple of car lengths behind him. We've just crossed halfway today here in Thunder Valley. Back at Bristol, the leader is the pace car. We're under caution for just the second time in this race. Already past halfway. This time it was a solo spin in turn number 2 for Sam Hornish Jr. that brought out the yellow. And should bring all the leaders to pit road right here. Logano, Sadler, Bain, Harvick, Keselowski, the top 5. Vince, you lead us off.
Brad Keselowski comes in 5th place. Keselowski is using the words like disconnected and inconsistent describing the car. So they're going to put a rubber in the left rear, going with the air pressure adjustment back from what they did on the previous stop, and make a 4-tire change.
Right side tires only for Trevor Bayne. He said the entry and exit are okay. I'm tight in the middle. They made an air pressure change in the right front. Took tape off the grill because the car running a little bit warm. They burned.
Doc, all the drivers on your screen will take enough Sunoco fuel to get to the end. They'll all take 4 tires as well. Their cars are mostly tight except for Harvick's, which has gone to the loose side. They will all make adjustments. Lito Logano's team goes to the left side. He will get beat off of pit road by several cars who strategize on him, guys.
Yeah, saw some 2-tire stops from some others besides Trevor Bayne. There, David, we'll recap the pit action for you and reset the restart in Thunder Valley. Tomorrow night, ESPN has an NBA doubleheader, 7 Eastern. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the Heat host Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magic. Then at 9:30 Eastern, LaMarcus Aldridge and the Trailblazers take on Kevin Durant and the Thunder. It's the NBA on ESPN, ESPN3, and streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app Sunday night.
So Dwight Howard is still playing for the Magic.
He is still playing for the Magic. This caution brought out by Sam Hornish, who had trouble in turn 2 just a minute ago, did not get any help.
No, he didn't, and this has been a trouble spot for Sam all weekend. He spun over in turn 2 yesterday in practice.
Tell you what, though, it's hard to do. Spin around here at Bristol, not hit anything.
As we come to the restart, cars taking wave arounds to get back on the lead lap, not pitting under the caution. Brian Scott, Michael Annett, Mike Bliss, and Kyle Busch back on the lead lap. Green flag, 137 to go. Trevor Bayne is the race leader.
Again, seeing the difficulty of trying to get up to speed off of that bottom lane on these restarts. Ricky Stenhouse was the one this time. He fell back to 4th.
That 18 car, Joey Logano. Caution, trouble in turn 1. TJ Bell sliding down through traffic after contact, and nobody else hits him.
This will be a big break for Kyle Busch now.
Yeah, and those other wave arounds, Brian Scott, Michael Annett,
and Mike Bliss.
Back on the lead lap. Now they can make that pit stop and be back even with all the rest of the cars.
TJ Bell involved in bringing out the third caution. Let's see what happened in turn one.
It's like he just lost it.
Yeah, as wide as we talk about this racetrack being, you still can't get into the corners at a very, very high there because there's just no grip whatsoever. There's no rubber down at all.
So TJ Bell's first NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Bristol is not going to go the way he was hoping. Third caution, the race is out with Trevor Bayne leading.
Or excuse. Under our third caution at Bristol Motor Speedway, so let's recap what's happened so far with our Ram race rundown, starting with Kyle Busch and his roller coaster of a day.
I tell you what, Kyle Busch has been flat flying today. There's a lot of controversy with this new team having problems, but he's got it really running good. Car's been running at the bottom of the track, middle of the track, but he had some problems with the right front tire. The lug nuts are loose right here. The team has changed the right side tires back up in the track now.
Back on the lead lap and in 16th, Danica Patrick.
Yeah, she got lapped obviously here at lap 50, but the thing I've noticed about Danica, she stayed in that one lap down area. She's moved into the top 20. It's not a bad day for her thus far, just making laps, getting to the end of the day.
Not a bad day, but not a great day for Sam Horner Jr. He's hit a lot of things.
Boy, he even hit a pit crew member right there. I mean, the car has been loose. He's been spinning out. Right there, looks like he's got his brake adjustment. Too much rear brake in the car. The thing's really getting loose. Having a tough problem for Sam Horner is kind of uncharacteristic for that team, I think.
That pit crew member is okay, and right now Sam is in 18th. Alan?
I guess the other headline of the day, Nicole, would be what a clean race it's been so far. Didn't have the first caution till the race was over 100 laps old. Our in-race reporter for the day is Kevin Harvick, the 5-time Bristol winner. He's running back in 8th right now.
Kevin, Dale Jarrett, got a copy?
Sir.
Looks like you've got a pretty strong horse. You got this car where you need to win right now?
I think we got the car better. It's been too loose. We got ourselves back here a little further than you'd like to see, but we'll see how the 2 tires plays out at the end of the run compared to the 4. But narrow track, man. It's hard to pass. You get up high and pin the guy down low, and they can't pass you, so it's a tough place to race.
Just no grip on the bottom to make that pass from there?
The top is just so fast, and the cars are loose right now, so it was a lot better before they repaved it, I can tell you that for sure.
All right, man. Good luck. Thanks.
Thoughts of Kevin Harvick as we are now 1 lap away from the restart. Quick reminder, American Le Mans Series Mobile 1, 12 hours at Sebring at noon Eastern tomorrow on ABC. Then next weekend, this Nationwide Series is on to Southern California. We have qualifying ESPN2, 1:30 Eastern next Saturday. And the race from Auto Club Speedway of Southern California next Saturday, 5 Eastern on ESPN. It has been a Joe Gibbs Racing dominated place, that racetrack in Southern California. We'll see how it plays next weekend. Joey Logano talking about restarts. He was the leader earlier.
On the initial start, the inside lane just doesn't go through the gears because the outside guys got the lead.
Well, the good news is probably 10 more restarts, so you'll get the outside eventually. Then you're going to go get that checker.
That's right. And if we don't get the inside, we'll still get the checker.
That's confident. Saw it right there again. That inside lane did not get going on the start.
Now, Justin Allgaier really spun the tires. Held Elliott Sadler and Joey Logano back, but
nice save
trying to make
there.
it work into 31 right now.
Stenhouse in that 6. You see the front end of his car wobbling back and forth off of turn number 2. Kept his foot in it, though, and he's got second place. Now, you heard Kevin Harvick mention, while we talk with an in-race reporter, about 2 tires. Remember, back to a couple of cautions ago, the pit stops by the leaders. Trevor Bayne, 60. Stenhouse in the 6. Allgaier in the 31. Got just right side tires. All these guys chasing them got 4 fresh tires.
I think what Kevin was saying, we'll see how this plays out. If we can get a longer run here, if the 4 tires will prevail in that situation.
On the last restart, Joey Logano in the 18 trapped in that inside lane. Elliott Sadler went by him. Now Logano and Sadler trapped in the inside lane. Here comes 22 Keselowski and 33 Harvick around the outside.
Yeah, Elliott Sadler just has not been able to find a hole to get up. He's got a fast race car.
His teammate there, Harvick, he didn't cut him any slack either. He just took that outside lane away.
That teammate's in theory. This doesn't have a thing to do with as far as these drivers are concerned. I mean, you give them a break every once in a while, but it's about track position right now and getting where you can.
Yeah, you need to get it early. I do believe these 4 tires are going to prevail in the end. But if you can get some of that track position now, it's going to make it a lot easier down the road.
Remember a little while ago, we talked about spotters having a number, and drivers and radios and so on, and Brad Keselowski saying, tell that 31 spotter I've had enough.
Well, he's within shouting distance. He can tell him himself now.
Yeah, and it may not be over the radio.
Yeah. I bet you he gets the message, yeah.
Allgaier 31, Keselowski 22 for third place.
Keselowski really loose getting down into the corner there.
Oh, man, a lot of contact there on the back straightaway. Almost a kind of a stack up behind this 31 of Allgaier.
Allgaier.
Going to cost him about 4 spots with that slide, if not more.
He was running really, really high, and I don't know if that was just to make sure he gave Keselowski room or if he was trying to find some speed in that lane, but while we watch this, Brian Scott behind the wall in the Gibbs 11. So Allgaier goes from racing for third all the way back to 7th. No contact there.
No contact. It's just like Allgaier wanted to try to get in there and stay on the outside of Keselowski. Sometimes you just overdrive it a little bit, and it shows you just a couple of feet will put you out of the groove.
And track position, that'll be hard to make up. Well, that's not where Brian Scott wanted to be steering his 11 car, Vince.
Well, it's unfortunate, too, because Kevin Kidd, the crew chief, told me before the race, he said, I think we've got a really good piece today. They were fastest in the second practice, but it wasn't long into the race before Brian Scott was complaining about the clutch. It said it barely engaged on their last pit stop. They knew they had a problem, so they're looking at that issue, and then also the temperature had gotten up beyond 250. So multiple concerns for Brian Scott in the 11.
Behind the wall. And he was 17th at the time he pulled off. Well, up front, Trevor Bayne wasn't even supposed to be in this race as of 7 days ago. From Knoxville, Tennessee, just an hour's drive up the road from this Bristol racetrack. He's got the lead in pursuit of a trophy. NASCAR Nationwide Series Ford Ecoboost 300 at Bristol, Tennessee. The Blue Oval gang got to be pretty happy right now. Their cars run first and second. The Roush Fenway Racing Mustangs of Trevor Bayne, 60, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6, holding down the top 2 spots. Pretty good race here for 5th place. Joey Logano, 18, Elliott Sadler, 2.
Yeah, Sadler looks like he might be just a little bit quicker at this point in time, but just can't find a way around him. Logano doing a nice job in the traffic, though, as he comes up on.
Logano has led more laps than anyone else today, but after that strategy session on the last pit stop, finds himself back in traffic.
See Dale Jr. now trying to get by Justin Allgaier for that spot.
That would be for 7th, Andy, and that's about as far forward as Junior's been all day. Got it going a little better in that 5 pit, Dave?
The word little is very appropriate right there, Alan. I checked in with Bruce Cook, the crew chief, a couple of times today. That very loose race car early in the race has got to be just a little bit loose of a race car. Just about 5 minutes ago, Bruce told me that. So watching Junior try to navigate the traffic, knowing that the car is not exactly where he wants it.
All right, Dave, thanks. And just ahead of Junior, where he fights there in traffic, Elliott Sadler's got the outside on Joey Logano, and he's finally going to get that spot.
Well, he's really got that outside lane working good for him. Looks like Joey just finally gave up and said, okay, take it.
Elliott's doing something that I haven't seen other drivers, really, especially into turn one, making a big arc there, staying up. Not really diamonding the racetrack, but making that arc and getting a huge run off of the corners.
Our lead's tightened up a little bit here. The Ford boys are starting to duke it out.
And they don't have to look far in their mirror to see 22 Brad Keselowski, who's always fast and then seems to be a part of the finish here a lot of times.
I believe Keselowski's the first car that took 4 tires on that last round of pit stops.
You are correct. Trevor Bayne had never led here at Bristol before. Today he's had the lead for the last little while. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to have it. Stenhouse looks good.
He does, but he's going to have a hard time making that pass on the bottom. We heard Kevin Harvick talk about that with the cars being free and with this tire, it just makes it difficult to make that pass from the bottom side.
While we watch the race for the lead, not pictured, Kenny Wallace's car just came to pit road slowly and has been pushed behind the wall.
Unfortunate for Kenny today. They had sponsorship from Mac Tools, hoping to have a good solid run.
Has he got him this time? Not quite.
You really have to stay patient as the leader, and you've chosen that outside lane, and you have to stay committed to that and understand that even though this driver gets to the inside of you, and put a lot of trust in him that he's not going to run up into the side of you.
Well, we've seen a lot of that Ricky versus Trevor promotional stuff over the last year and change. Now it's Ricky versus Trevor for the race lead at Bristol.
Doesn't get much better than that. They've done a lot of things we've seen them do, but this is as good as it gets at Bristol.
And just to take that story a little further, 2 cars prepared by the same race team. And I don't just mean Roush Fenway Racing. I mean literally Mike Kelly, the crew chief for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 6, and his gang essentially preparing this 60 car for Trevor Bayne as well in the early part of this season for the races that Bayne has been running.
See, Ricky Stenhouse really sliding this 6 car around. We see that every week, and it doesn't matter the speed. You can get up to 200 miles an hour like they were at Vegas or here at Bristol, where it's about 120. He's getting the most out of it.
I'm impressed with Trevor, though. He's working his traffic just masterfully. I mean, he was working that high lane, and he saw something coming up on that 40 car he didn't like, so he went to the bottom.
Trevor on Friday here telling me that with his future in the Nationwide Series uncertain for this season, every race, every lap counted. He's making the most of it today at Bristol. Tomorrow night, ESPN has an NBA doubleheader. 7 Eastern, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and the Heat host Dwight Howard and in-state rival Orlando Magic. Then at 9:30 Eastern, LaMarcus Aldridge and the Trailblazers take on Kevin Durant and the Thunder. It's the NBA on ESPN, ESPN3, and streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app Sunday nights. In traffic for the lead, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. trying to pin his teammate Trevor Bayne.
He did it.
Dig hard off the corner. Dig hard. Come on. And
got it.
7 still inside. And clear. Good job. You are the leader.
Hey, Ricky was really patient and took that opportunity right when it came up.
Yeah, that kind of patience is what won him a championship last year. We saw this a lot, just maturity as a driver, and that's why he's so good. We saw it last week. He didn't have the best car at parts. He waited to the end and got himself in a position, just like he's done here once again.
He worked, saw the lap traffic ahead of him. Saw Danica there, saw a couple other cars that he was getting ready to get into, and he worked so hard to position that. And as a race driver, I'm impressed that at Bristol, when things are happening so fast and there's traffic all around you, you don't even know what corner you're in maybe sometimes. you can see the race unfolding that far ahead and strategically try and use it to your advantage.
Yeah, but not every driver can do that, as we see now Keselowski trying to take over second from Trevor Bayne. But not every driver can do that. That's what separates the really good ones.
Oh, wow.
And Ricky Stenhouse is becoming one of those very quickly.
Crossover for Trevor Bayne.
I'll tell you, Keselowski took that spot on purpose. He drove that thing down in there and used that car as a pick.
Yeah, and I think he used those 4 tires, having a little bit better tires in that situation, was able to get into the corner a little harder.
Said, I got to go.
Yeah, he's watching that 6 car just drive away while they're racing. He knows he's got to get it done. He's only got just 70 laps now to try to get up to that 6 car.
And you have to think, if this thing continues to go green, that these 4 tires are going to be very beneficial for the 22, the 33, and the 2.
Yeah, that's what we heard Harvick say when we talked to him about it. We'll see how that works out in the end of the run. Now, it looks like these 2 tires have held up real well in the first half of this run.
So Stenhouse Jr., the 4th leader of the race. Trevor Bayne has led the 2nd most laps today. That's Kevin Harvick, 33. Elliott Sadler, 2, racing for 4th and 5th. And the man who's led the most laps today finds himself now back in 6th position. And that's Joey Logano in the 18. We go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and check on what happened to the man who kind of dominated this race for a while, Dave.
Alan, he had fallen back to as far as 7th, saying, I can't get off the corner. I don't have any bite off the corner. I'm riding the right rear tire too hard. But right now, he is a big fan of his fans. He was able to cool the air to one of his tires or 2 of his tires and actually adjust the handling on that car, and it's starting to come back to him. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch certainly has had a roller coaster day, led for quite a while, but he had a right front loose wheel. He had to pit. He fell all the way back to 22nd. Well, now he's fighting his way back up to 8th. He also had some damage in that right front. They had to put a patch over a hole. Dave?
Justin Allgaier restarted up front, but we saw him get out of the groove and lose spots. Remember, he was one of the cars that only took 2 tires, and the car has gone tight on him. Doc?
Behind them, 19-year-old Ryan Truex. He got caught for speeding off of pit road on the very first pit stop. Had to go back in the pack and now driven this car into the top 10. He said the car was a little bit tight in the middle, was starting to get very, very free in. Worried about maybe burning up some tires here in the late laps. Behind him, the veteran 38 driver, that is Casey Kane. And Casey just said, guys, this car is terrible. It's worse than it's been all day. They couldn't understand why. They reviewed the pit stop tape. They went the wrong way on the way. Dave.
The last time Austin Dillon came down pit road, he said the car needs to turn better. So in addition to the Sunoco fuel they put into the car, they made an air pressure adjustment. Well, it turns better. His last report, loose. Alan?
For emphasis. And so wanted to catch you up there on some of the other lead lap cars that we haven't been able to get to while all that good racing up front was going on between Stenhouse and Bayne and now Keselowski. It's the defending series champion, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who scored his first win of this season and the 3rd of his Nationwide Series career last Saturday in Las Vegas. He's out in front again today here in Bristol.
Working lap 249 of 300 at Bristol Motor Speedway. The leader right now is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but it's been an interesting race. We've only seen 3 cautions for 21 laps, and right now, that 6 car is more than 2 seconds ahead of second place Brad Keselowski. So the question is, with 50 to go, Rusty, is he pushing too hard too soon? Is it go time yet?
Nicole, I really don't think he's pushing too hard right now. He's just driving his car to what it'll do for him. I don't think he's overdriving it. He's run on the bottom of the track, the middle of the track. He's going wherever he needs to go to make passes. And right now, I'm pretty impressed with his run. But another guy I'm impressed with also, Nicole, is Kyle Busch, what he's doing. Man, he's coming through that pack right now. He might just win this race. He's coming from that right front that he had a problem with.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if they ever get a restart, though, the guy I'm watching is Elliott Sadler. He has consistently been the fastest car on the racetrack lap after lap. If we can get a restart, I think Elliott Sadler's got the car to beat.
There's Sadler right now in 3rd, trying to get 2nd away from Brad Keselowski. Alan?
Yeah, Nicole, we've been tracking Elliott's lap times up here as well, and Dale and Andy, he is charging.
Yeah, I think he's the best car with 4 tires. Ricky Stenhouse, I'm amazed at how fast his car is with just those 2 tires. Still, after they put a lot of laps here, but Elliott Sadler has been extremely fast.
Yeah, it looks like Keselowski's right here starting to give up a little bit. I've seen that car really wiggle in the back end a couple times, and now Elliott Sadler is really pushing him for this second spot.
Mike Bliss 44 car just lost a lap to the leaders a couple of laps ago. And now Sadler's progress as far as the gap to Stenhouse is going to be slowed a little bit as he has to try and find a way around Keselowski for that second position.
Yeah, that's going to be the main thing. He's got that and traffic all at the same time. You can see just how much traffic makes a difference in this.
Yep.
Stenhouse has been the fastest car a number of times, but his progress was slowed quite a bit by traffic on that lap.
See if he can make this pass on the bottom. It's been tough today.
Lap traffic ahead.
If he can stay right there till they get to this 14, looks like he might have this spot.
That was a good corner there, too.
Yeah, Elliott's car is working extremely well.
Key rhythm right here, man. We're wondering whether or not this 6 is going to be able to make it on fuel, so we got to get this 22.
Here comes Keselowski looking back down low. Can't make that stick.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to do that. That's one thing we hadn't thought about, anybody really being short on fuel, and we thought that they had enough to get there.
Well, it was when they made that pit stop, it was right there at the limit. I mean, it's 160 is what we thought was outside of the, right at the edge of the window. Most of those drivers made that stop. I think it was about 156 to go.
Pitted at lap 158.
So just a little over 150 laps. They'll have to run on this tank of fuel.
So Elliott Sadler up and around Brad Keselowski for second spot. He's 3 seconds behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for the race lead. Lots of lap traffic. And will we see another caution today at Bristol? They've been pretty rare so far. Back live at Bristol. Caution just came out. Kyle Busch had some trouble in turn 4. Some of the leaders have pitted, Vince.
2 tires for Brad Keselowski and a round down on the track bar. They debated 4-2, went with 2. Doc?
Left side tires only for Trevor May. Remember, he took right sides the previous time when the tires were given up, and he couldn't hold on, entering and exiting. Jamie.
And they debated if they should bring Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in. They brought him in right sides only for the second time in a row, down and away. Dave?
Kevin Harvick wants his car tightened up a little bit. It'll be a track bar adjustment, and it looks like a right side tire change. We'll see if they go for 4, but everybody else is taking 2, so they're going to need some track position.
Well, the one who did not pit was Elliott Sadler in the 2. He's going to go to the lead. But all these guys that just got at least a couple of tires are going to be pretty close behind him for this restart. That'll be interesting. A lot to talk about as we get down to the final 32 laps here at Bristol. Some pit strategy, the reason for the caution, and so on, all before the restart. Let's first of all show you how Kyle Busch brought out just the 4th yellow of this race. Kyle was running 7th at the time and left some things behind in turn 4.
Yeah, the car was fast, but you see a brake duct hose come out from under the car. It's like it may have gotten up against that right front tire and cut it. And sent Kyle up against the wall.
Somehow he managed to keep from hitting it with any substantial
contact. He'd made a little contact but didn't pound it.
Now, watch coming to pit road. Elliott Sadler in the 2 and Brad Keselowski in the 22. Ooh.
Yeah, a few games being played there, trying to decide who was coming, who wasn't.
Yeah, it looked like Keselowski was thinking about, staying out if the 2 car was making a pit stop, and then he just wanted to do the opposite of whatever the 2 car was doing, and they came together at the commitment line.
So Sadler is now the leader. He and Casey Kane in the 38 did not pit under this yellow. The only 2. Someone who was cost by problems on this pit stop. Kevin Harvick went for just right side tires on his pit stop. Our ESPN in-race reporter today got tagged for speeding exiting the pits. So since he was going to have to go to the end of the line anyway, came back in and got the left side tires on that 33 car. But Kevin goes from 5th to 14th for this restart.
Those extra pit speed lines on pit road may have got him.
Luke Lambert made the call to leave Elliott Sadler on the racetrack, Dave.
And there was some debate there, but ultimately you stayed out. You have enough car to get these guys to the end.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's been really important to start in the high line all day, so I feel like we made the right call there. Depends on what happens on this restart, but I think we'll be good.
Did you see him get knocked around coming to pit road there? Is the car okay?
Yeah, I saw he did, but the tire looks okay, so I think we'll be fine.
It is Bristol. I guess a few bumps and bruises are okay on the way to victory lane, right?
Car can't go into victory lane without a donut mark on the side, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
See a little dent there in the rear.
I'll tell you, I like track position. And here at this racetrack, it seems like to me, no matter what it costs, I'll take that track position. I think that's what Luke's thinking here too. Is, you know, I know we're not going to have as good of tires. We know if we stay out, we'll start up front, and we'll take that and see what happens. I mean, the new tires, the right sides might overcome this, but I like track position.
Yeah, it's a gambling way you go about it. That's what makes sitting on that box so difficult. And yeah, and with this particular tire, they're not exactly sure how much it will come back, but what we have seen is it be pretty durable here.
I know the first race that Elliott Sadler won in the Sprint Cup Series here, he did not take tires. Stayed out when everybody pitted and drove away.
I think the best thing he has is Ricky Stenhouse has to start on the inside.
Yep, 2 and 38. Cars in the front row did not pit. Everybody else behind them did. Most took just 2 tires on their stop. There are some further back that took 4.
This might not be the last caution either.
You think? Got 13 cars on the lead lap. And we're down to 28 laps to go for a win at Bristol.
Well, the front two really spinning their tires as they try to get going.
Stenhouse squeezing his way up into that outside lane in front of Dale Jr. in the 5.
That's the first time that we've seen the inside car on the front row be able to get up in there. Casey Kane was able to keep that second spot.
Look at this. 4th place on back. Big knot.
Stenhouse gets loose off of 2. Junior gets a spot.
Careful. A little bumper there. Austin Dillon in the 3, Trevor Bayne in the 60.
Yeah, I need to tell these guys it might be bank like Daytona, but it's not. 3 wide's hard to do.
Yeah, these last 24 laps are going to go real quick.
Ryan Truex in the 20, also in the mix there in the top 10 in the closing laps.
I'm watching Trevor Bayne. They traded changed left side tires there. I'm not sure that's working the way that they wanted to on their car.
While all this is going on, Elliott Sadler has gotten away.
His best friend right now is Casey Kane, holding off that 22 car, Keselowski.
Yeah, that was big whenever Casey Kane was able to slide up into that second spot.
Close. One of 7 races that Martin Truex Jr.'s younger brother Ryan will drive for Joe Gibbs Racing in this nationwide series. In that 20 car.
He's doing a nice job down there on the inside. He's done a nice job all day long. They had a speeding penalty on pit road back under one of the cautions earlier in the race, but they've rebounded from that nicely.
Yep, see the scoring serial there on Ryan. Going to be 3 wide here. Allgaier low.
It's get dicey now. Oh, Ryan Truex did a nice job right there.
Still 3 wide. Now Allgaier gets a spot. Or 2.
You just kind of feel the tension in that group right there. Michael Annett, 43, also on the lead lap. Haven't called his name much today. Got a wave around a little earlier to get back on the lead lap.
Hey, Junior's got this 5 car rolling. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough time to get to Elliott.
About to give up a spot here. Joey Logano in the 18 try to take that 4th spot away from Dale Jr.
I don't think he can.
Been a pretty difficult grind for this 5 team today, Dave.
But it's probably the best that it's been all day, Alan. It starts free and gets neutral. That was the report during the last run. They took on 2 right side tires and otherwise left it alone.
He's using every bit of that racetrack in the corners, isn't he?
Yeah, he's using up Joey's patience a little bit too.
And Logano putting a slide job. Here comes Junior back on the crossover move.
You tell me, as a driver here, are these guys smiling and having fun racing like this, or are they really tight and kind of angry at each other?
Both. Yeah, they're smiling because it is fun. But I think Junior felt like that he had the spot. But the slide job, that's what you got to expect from this racetrack now. With the configuration, you expect that to happen. You just have to try to make that crossover move work. And in doing that, and I would say if that were the case tomorrow, we might see a little bit more rubbing and banging from the 2 of these drivers.
Not missing anything up front. Elliott Sadler with a very comfortable lead on Casey Kane. All these double wide races back inside the top 10. There's Stenhouse continuing to slide a little bit in that 6 car.
Yeah, just some contact off of 2 between these 2 cars. Allgaier got into the 6 just a little bit, but they sorted out now.
That's pretty good contact.
Yeah, that cut a tire down in a hurry, but everything's okay
so far. Still got 10 laps to go. And Bain and Truex still at it in the 20 and the 60. Kevin Harvick behind them, trying to pick his way back from the speeding penalty on the pit stop. A minute to go.
And you have to give you credit. You said that Elliott Sadler would set sail from staying out there and starting up front, that was going to mean more than anything, and I was questioning that, but
I'll tell you, track position here is the most critical thing, and he got it right there by staying out. Even though he was one of 2 that stayed out, it's still, no matter what it costs, I would take that.
And by having a good handling car, he hasn't abused his tires to this point, and shows the durability of this tire. A lot of Cup crew chiefs watching this today.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah, they're watching. This is the exact same tire they'll run tomorrow.
I know it's very early in the season. It's only the, 4th race of the year, but I'm thinking the way that we've seen Sadler in the 2 and Stenhouse in the 6 perform so far, this is going to be a great championship.
Oh, it really is. These 2 drivers very determined. I think both of them still, even though Stenhouse won the championship last year, a lot to prove yet to a lot of people that, hey, I deserve to be in a Cup ride. And I think both of them have that mentality.
I tell you who's got something to prove. These Cup stars are coming over here. They hadn't won one yet. Finding it going a little tougher this year.
Harvick 33, Truex 20. That's back for 9th and 10th place.
I can tell just talking to Elliott Sadler, he's so excited about the cars that's being put under him. He's appreciative to Richard Childress and that organization, and really has a great relationship with his crew chief, Luke Lambert. So that's the kind of things that you need to happen, and we know what Ricky Stenhouse and his team can do, so I think it'll be a tremendous battle right to the end.
Now 3 laps to go for Elliott Sadler. They'll go by in a hurry here at Bristol. Came back to the Nationwide Series last year, went winless. Very disappointed in his season. Paired up with crew chief Luke Lambert and Richard Childress Racing for this season in the 2nd race of the year. Broke a very long dry spell, 91 races in the Nationwide Series, plus going back several years on the Sprint Cup side. Now to open this season, he's going to be 2 for 4.
Not a bad batting average there.
Checkered flag is up. White flag is up, I'm sorry. I told you they'd go by in a hurry. I was
it happens quick, though. Get ready.
That's quite a lap you made around there.
I'm telling you.
Hell yeah!
Second win at Bristol in the Nationwide Series for Elliott Sadler. The strategy call got him track position, and he did the rest. Two for 4.
I know they were excited about the prospects, but I'm not even sure that they would have predicted they could win 2 out of these first 4.
Pretty impressive so far. Look at Luke, man. He's happy. Loving life now. That's Big Mike Sears. Long-time crew member over there.
Your mama's here for this one, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's the first one, my friend.
Elliot's parents were here, actually stayed in his motorhome with him last night, so we're excited to be here. Tell how excited he is. Anytime you win at Bristol.
That's pretty good right there. He took his helmet off while he's still burning in the rear tire. That guy is good.
Know what it means to win at Bristol? That'll tell you all. Well, Luke Lambert made the strategy call that got him the track position, Jamie.
He's making things look easy, making all the right calls. You're 2 for 4 in wins now. Did you ever second guess that call to leave him out?
Yeah, I mean, there for a second we kind of did, but we knew that the most important thing was where we needed to start on the restart, and we knew that was the only way we could guarantee it. So I think we made the right call for sure, obviously.
Congratulations, Bristol winner, as his driver does his burnouts behind him. Alan.
That's the first time since 1995 that the first 4 races of the season were won by non-Sprint Cup drivers. And certainly injecting a nice shot of energy into this NASCAR Nationwide Series, with Elliott Sadler taking his 2nd win of this young season already. He'll make the drive up onto the roof of Bristol's unique victory lane after his on-track celebration. It's pretty slick here. Burn the rear tires down and take the helmet off at the same time.
Valley. NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by John Deere. Deere season is going on now. Visit your John Deere dealer today.
Now, this Bristol Motor Speedway has been a very special place in Elliott Sadler's NASCAR racing career. Back in March of 1998, he scored a win in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Got a win for the Wood Brothers, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series as well. That was March of 2001, his first career Sprint Cup win. And today, Sadler back in Thunder Valley's victory lane again with his 2nd win of this 2012 season. He's made the drive up onto the roof. Dave Burns has joined him there.
Another special day for you here, Elliott, at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And that last call, I didn't think at first you were too happy with that.
Wow. How about a great call by Luke Lambert? And then he reminded me, I won a race here in 2001 by doing the same thing, staying out. But I got to thank everybody from One Main Financial, Marion, JR, and everybody there that supports me and this program, and everybody at RCR and ECR. What a great day. This is Bristol. I wanted this one worse than anything because I love this racetrack so much. Thanks to Coca-Cola, Hunt Brothers Pizza, everybody that does a great job for this race team. Great call by Luke. And for the first win ever in my NASCAR career, my parents are here.
Where are they? Where are Belle and Herman?
They're over there standing.
Come on, guys. Come on over here.
So for the first time ever, they're here for a win, which is very special to me. I hated my wife and kids are not here, but the first time my mom has gotten to enjoy Victory Lane with me in person.
It's wonderful. My favorite track.
Belle, what does this mean to see him and to be here now? You've seen him win before, but now you're here.
That's my baby. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
I think Dad came on the radio there at the end, did he not?
I think he might have said 1 or 2 words, but I got to thank Richard Childress, everybody at ECR. His car's 2 for 2, same car we won with at Phoenix. Great call by Luke. His parents and family are here, too, for his first time at Victory Lane, everybody together. So just a great job. I can't thank these guys enough. Everybody at RCR and ECR for giving me what we need to run and get wins. To win 2 of the first 4 races is awesome. Man, we got to keep adding to it, man. It's blood in the water is what they say.
And there's Brother Hermie right there, giving him a big hug as well. Elliott, what was your biggest concern at the end there, though? Everybody had tires behind you, and you guys had made that gutsy call.
Yeah, Luke did a great job giving us track position, but I thought with new tires, they were going to be able to go. But Casey Kane got a great start, got in behind me, and I know he was on the same tires I was, and he kept his momentum up, keeping everybody to the bottom. I knew if Casey stayed behind me, we were going to be okay, but I was really worried about new tires. Brad got a good start, pushed me out to the front, and we were able to hold him off, man, and we were able to pull away at the end, running some fast lap times. This car's been so good right off the trailer. We were fast yesterday. Guys made some great adjustments during the race to get me what I needed and what I felt, and this beats my wildest dreams just to win the first 2 of the first 4 races. Strong race team, man. They give me everything I want and need to be a continuing race car driver. After what I've been through the last couple years in racing, this damn sure feels good.
What a way to start the season. What a way to end the day at Bristol. Victory lane for Elliott Sadler.
Well, he only led the final 35 laps. He had a good car all day. Let's not confuse that issue, but the strategy call got him the track position. Look at the start to this season in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Elliott Sadler, his second win in 4 tries. Even though there were showers forecast and threatening on the radar all day, turned out to be a beautiful day here at Bristol. No more beautiful for anyone than Elliott Sadler, who's celebrating his second win of this season.
You see, Stenhouse gets a 6th place finish after leading the race late and making that decision to come down pit road.
Yeah, Trevor Bain led a lot of the race there too, and looked like he might be getting his first Bristol win, but finishes 8th.
And let's hear from some of these drivers who finished in the top 10. Dr. Jerry Punch is with a man who disappeared from the leaderboard for a while, but finished second.
Well, Casey Kane brought his Chevrolet home in second spot, and Casey, it looked like you had your hands full most of the afternoon.
Yeah, we had a really good Great Clip Chevy yesterday in practice, and today we were on the splitter a little too hard and just tight. The front was a little bit numb. So I had to keep working on it. The track position really paid off at the end. Mike Shiplett made a good call to get track position there, and it's a good race. Elliott got away. I knew that restart. I needed to try to get in front of the 22 on the outside and then see if I could catch back to Elliott, but he was a little too fast for us. And but still, it was a good run for our Great Clips team. All the guys did a nice job. The Hendrick engine ran really well.
I know you guys made the call to stay out and keep track position. Did you think you had a shot at maybe fixing the car and making that pit stop with 30 to go, or just staying out your best bet?
For me, that was our best bet because I was at my worst the first probably 30 laps of a run, 20 laps of a run. We were really tight, and as the rear tires would build air and stuff, they'd start sliding around and kind of help the front out. So I thought I was in the best spot I could be and just keep the track position, and we were able to hang on to it.
A good run today.
Thank you.
Since Casey Kane's last win, he has finished second 3 times, and all 3 times here at Bristol.
And Joey Logano brings it home 4th today after starting on the pole and leading for the first part of this race. I mean, we went a long time without a caution flag there, but it seems like after you guys took tires, things changed. What happened?
Yeah, I felt like we kind of gave it away. I had a GameStop Toyota that could win this thing. I felt like, especially the first half of the race, and we came in for a second stop, and the car just got really loose. Like a bad set of tires, and we lost all our track position. We had that caution with, I think it was 30 to go, and came in, put 4 tires on it, tightened it a little bit, and we were tight the last run. So it just proved us that something was wrong there that run. We lost all our track position. We were the fastest car at the end again. Needed more time. I needed one more caution to restart in the high side, maybe get a couple cars there. But either way, thanks to Turtle Beach for coming on the car this weekend, and kind of bummed out we didn't get a win, but we got to keep our heads up for having a fast car.
Well, we can foreshadow a little bit. You will be back in the car next week at California. What do you think of that speedway?
I like California. It's I've got a win there, and I feel like I've come close a couple other times I didn't win. But it's a really cool racetrack, especially with these cars. Because they're so draggy and don't have much horsepower, the draft on the straightaway is ridiculous. So it makes it pretty fun to race, especially on restarts. It's always crazy there. So tune in. We'll have the Translux Toyota out there, so we'll have a good time with that.
All right, Joey Logano, 4th straight top 10 here at Bristol.
Despite a pit lane speeding penalty, Austin Dillon fights back to finish 12th today, top finishing rookie, so congratulations on that. And your debut Bristol race in the Nationwide Series, how was it?
Well, it wasn't what we wanted, but, coming here as of last year, the Truck Series, we didn't really run that well. So the Advocare team really fought hard all day. We got ourselves in the top 10 a few times. The speeding penalty hurt us a little bit early. Had to fight our way back up to there. Just proud of the guys for keep fighting. Want to thank our sponsors, Advocare, Bass Pro Shops, American Ethanol, Tag Heuer, and Nationwide Insurance for putting on a great series, man. I have so much fun each week. I can't wait to get to Fontana.
What was the big challenge for you today from a driver's perspective that this track here at Bristol created?
Well, you know, we fought both, everything, loose, tight, and at the end we took 2 tires and we're just plowing tight. We actually could go for a few laps, but after that we just couldn't get it what we needed. We adjusted a lot today, just didn't get there. We're gonna find some speed when we come back, kind of lean to what the 2 and the 33 did for the race today. So congratulations to Elliott Sadler and RCR Racing. So I got a heavy heart this week for Frankie Allen and his family from RCR. Passed away this week, and just thinking about his family.
Thanks, Austin. Doc?
Well, Tennessee native Trevor Bayne looked like he had the car to beat. Trevor, he led 64 laps and looked like it was the car no one could touch. And then the long green flag run after 2 right side tires seemed to be your undoing. What happened with the car?
Yeah, I think we might have played our cards a little bit too early. I was really excited about our car at the beginning when we were running behind the 18 car. It seemed like we could catch him and run up to him. In the middle of the race, it was really fast. Lap car squeezed us into the wall earlier, and it made us really tight, but Chad did a good job adjusting back to get it freed up. And then right there at the end on 2 tires, we just got way too free. Felt like we ran the left rear off the car. Then we came in and took 2 left sides, and that freed it up even more. So I don't know what the magic solution was there on that first pit stop when we took 2 right sides, but I think we might have just went a little bit too early, but it worked out for the time being. We had track position, got to lead some laps. I just hate we finished 8th after running top 5 all day. I thought for sure we were going to get a solid top 5 finish here.
Up to 3rd in points now by virtue of that top 10 finish. And now last week we were thinking about what's going to happen next week. Now we know. I guess you do have plans for California.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing today. I'm not 100%, but I heard that we're probably going to California just because the car has to leave on Monday, so they had to go ahead and make arrangements. But we're 3rd in points. We got to catch Elliott. He is on fire right now with 4 top 3s, I think, this season and another win. So we're like 29 points out of the lead. That's something we can make up, but we got to be there every weekend. So I'm glad YourRaceCar.com came on board, and Crawdads, Classic Spices came on board to help us out this weekend. But we got to get some more for the rest of the season now.
Good job today.
Thank you.
Home State boy Trevor Bayne finishing in 8th spot. Vince?
1 spot ahead of Bayne was Justin Allgaier in 7th, his best finish of the season. Congratulations on that. Did you feel like a pinball at times today? There was a lot of contact on this short track.
A couple of times, but it was really good. It was a good race, long race. The Brandt Chevy guys did a good job. I wish we could have got up there and battled a little bit more. We had some time, so we were up front. But all in all, you know, just another solid weekend. I have to thank Nationwide Insurance. They provided the camera for the in-car this week, so that was cool. Just wish we could have finished a little bit better for him.
Feel like you're making strides, you and Jimmy Ellich?
Absolutely. I feel like our entire team, Turner Motorsports, is really doing a good job. Casey Kane finished in 2nd. That was cool today. We just, you know, we were good at times. That last caution, we come in and we made a pit stop, and we changed forward. We were kind of at the end of the lead lap, and I think it was the right call. We just got blocked in. Everybody was running too wide, and then got some damage trying to get back through the field. And once we did that, the car just kind of lost some of the handling. So I hate it. The guys got to fix the car now. I thought I was going to come out of here with no scrapes on it, really. But all in all, like I said, great day. Brandt Chevy guys did good pit stops all day, and that's what it's all about.
7th for Justin Allgaier today. Jamie Little?
And Cole Witt brings it home 16th in his first start here in a Nationwide car. How difficult is it for you, though, just to not look at that and say, well, we finished the race, and not be frustrated you guys didn't finish better?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely frustrating. You know, we expected a lot more. But at the same time, you know, we can still at least say it was a good points day. We can move on from it and not take a big hit. You know, that's a big thing. But, you know, we just kind of got caught a lap down and never could get it back. We're always just out of reach, so it's just kind of what happens. But, you know, it's Bristol, and I just got to thank Hendrick Cars for coming on board with us and giving us this chance to do this, and Nationwide Insurance for giving us, you know, this great series to race in. So it's been a lot of great people, and thanks to Junior Motorsports. Just looking forward to the season and moving on from this one.
It's always very entertaining for the fans and for us to watch racing here. But as a rookie, what is it like sitting in that seat throughout these laps?
Yeah, I mean, I had to ask you where I finished. I don't even know where I was at. You know, it's just, especially when you get a lap down like that, you know, the top 5 is a great spot to be, but you're outside of that top 5, let alone the top 10. You're really kind of in the leaders just come around here so quick, you know, and if you're caught up by somebody at all, the leaders are riding back on top of you. So it just makes it tough, but, you know, it's going to be a long year. We look forward to improving.
Still thinking big picture. Cole Witt brings it home 16th. Nicole?
And big picture, Cole Witt is still 5th in points. Top finishing rookies today. Austin Dillon once again leads the way. 2 drivers in the top 20. Again, Austin Dillon and Cole Witt. Those were 2 drivers that we talked about coming into this day and what they've been able to do this season. We also came into this day talking about Elliott Sadler and the positive effect that sometimes a small change can have on a driver. That change this time around, his crew chief, Luke Lambert.
Yes, crew chief is really key. There's no doubt about that. But also it's key that Elliott's coming out of a cup shop right now. Richard Childress Racing. There's no doubt in my mind this week when I walked the pit area and looked at those cars, Kevin Harvick's cars last year were great, but these cars that Richard Childress is putting out right now for Elliott Sadler and his team look really good. So, in my opinion, Elliott has not changed much as a driver. He's just got better cars this year, Brad.
Yeah, I think it's the combination, obviously, of the crew chief and the equipment. And last year, like we talked about Elliott, he is so capable, and we knew he's capable of winning races and winning a championship, and he came so close last year. I think right now Elliott's done a great job putting himself in position mentally to take advantage of his resources. He's driving the wheels off that race car. Luke Lambert's done a great job making the calls, and old RCR is giving him a lot of good equipment.
And the difference between last year and this year, last year the first 3 races of the season, no top 5s. This year the first 4 races, a third, a first, a third, and a first. So by that calculation, he'll finish 3rd next weekend in California.
Sure.
But right now he has a 25-point lead in the championship. Yes, it's very early, but last season there were only 2 times when the points lead was more than 22.
Yeah.
Those are the last 2 races of the season.
Well, I will tell you that momentum is everything in the world. You've got to come out of the box strong. We're early in the year right now, and for Elliott to already have 2 victories and the rest of them top 5s, that's just incredible. A great momentum builder for the team. And I will tell you guys, when I was driving and I came out early, running good, we had generally stayed good throughout the year.
Yeah, but he's going to have to deal with those Rouse cars once they get to the 1.5 mile, and even next week at that 2-mile racetrack. They are tremendous at those intermediate tracks. They dominate there. So if Elliott Sadler can keep up with those racetracks, got a good chance to win this championship.
Another thing, those rookies we were talking about, Cole Witt, Austin
Yes.
Dillon, those guys get to the bigger racetrack out in California. In my opinion, they're going to run really good out there. This tight little racetrack, these young guys, they got to figure it out. But out there, I have noticed that those 2 guys tend to run better at bigger tracks.
Same could be said about Danica Patrick. She says her weakest points are the short tracks. Today she finished 2 laps down in 19th, and she's standing by with Vince Welch.
Danica Patrick finishes 19th today, 2 laps down. How did Bristol treat you this afternoon?
It's okay. Car wasn't perfect all day, but it wasn't terrible. It was a little loose all day, I feel. It was hard to attack the corner, so I was good off all day, though, which is kind of I think, always what you need, number 1, so I had that. Would have liked to have been a little bit quicker, would have liked to have been able to pass some more cars, but we made it to the end this time, and perhaps that's what the Irish gave us for luck today, I'm not sure, but I think any of the short tracks that I do, if we can just get to the end and make some progress through the race, that's good. So, I learned about running out there. I ran high, ran low, and,
DJ and Andy talked before the race about this being one of the toughest tracks that any driver will run because of the mental difficulty as well as just the challenges that the track presents itself. What's your take on that?
It's definitely true. I mean, the moments that I was out there, even if I'd be in the middle of the corner, like re-gripping or something on the wheel and feeling like, I've got a little push, I'm going to slide my hands. I mean, in that moment, you lose it a little. So it takes absolutely, very, very consistent concentration to get through and not make mistakes. But I feel like that's probably something that comes a little more naturally to me, is the focus and the concentration. I just got to work on getting faster and qualifying further up the grid, and then just getting a little bit of a better race pace. I thought after first practice we were looking good, but we lost our way just a little bit, but that's that. So got the GoDaddy car to the finish, and we'll maybe retire this beautiful green car, and congrats to Elliott. He's on a roll.
Yes, he is. Thanks, Danica. 19th today for Danica Patrick.
Well, Vince, Ryan Truex may have passed more cars today than anybody in the racetrack. You went all the way to the back by virtue of that little speeding penalty on pit road. Now, when you get to the back of the pack, we saw it last year, you come roaring through. Tell us about your day.
Every time I drive a Gibbs car, for some reason, at some point in the race, I end up in the back and have to come to the front. So it's a good learning experience, I guess, but I sped on pit road. My fault. Just got out of the box a little too hard and didn't see my speed. So apologize for that, but I had fun coming through. Got up to 6th, 7th, I don't know, racing Trevor there, and I just burnt my right rear off racing him. I think we had a top 5 car today, just like I said, burnt the right rear off and couldn't get by him. But I got to thank Grind Boss. They're the first personal sponsor I've ever had, and to get them a top 10 their first race with Gibbs is really cool. Man, I'm just happy to be here. This is fun.
All right, what a great day for Ryan Truex. And by the way, early happy 20th birthday. He turns 20 years of age. Oh, my God, I got socks that old tomorrow. Dave?
Well, with photo after photo being taken of Elliott Sadler in victory lane, car owner Richard Childress sees this place, sees the victory lane, and knows it's special. What does today mean to you?
Well, anytime you win at Bristol, it's great to win for One Main, Elliott, Luke. These guys just did a great job. Proud of our whole nationwide team. We're working as one big team, and couldn't be prouder of these guys.
I mean, you guys have been hot out of the box this year. Talk about the start they've had to the season. 2 wins now for Elliott, and just the strength of this team.
Yeah, I think what Luke and we've assembled over the winter, I think it's just been a great start. And Elliott believes, everybody believes in each other. We know that we can contend for that championship, and that's the goal.
It looks like he's organized a good bunch here and a odds-on contender for the championship this year. Alan?
All right, David, thanks. And Elliott Sadler and Richard Childress and the rest of the NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers, owners, and teams will move back across the country next weekend to Auto Club Speedway of Southern California. And that race on ESPN at 5 Eastern Time. Then it's on to Fort Worth, Texas after a weekend off. The short track in Richmond and Talladega. Talk about variety to open this season. We've had it and are going to have it.
Yeah, it continues to be. But these teams are really going to be looking forward to a little bit of time off, Andy, to kind of regroup, especially the ones that may have had a tough start to the season.
Yeah, they're going to have a couple of weeks off after the next one, and we'll see how it goes from there. But it has been an intense 4 so far.
A couple of things stand out to me from this day's race at Bristol. First of all, relative lack of cautions. Didn't even get the first one until the race was over a third old. Pretty clean race for Bristol. The track position strategy play that was made by Luke Lambert, and overall the efforts we saw on a part of a number of drivers. I still think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. drove the wheels off his race car today. Didn't get anything to show for it. And Elliott Sadler drove the wheels off his race car and did get something to show for it.
Yeah, and even though we may have come about it differently because you talk about the lack of cost, that's kind of the mentality that every driver since I've been coming here has had. Some are happy because they had a good day, they kept it out of the wall, and then you have others that led the race, feel like they should have come out with more points and even a chance at winning and didn't get that. So it's kind of the same old Bristol, other than we see contact but not necessarily the accidents.
Now, one thing I took away from this one, and I know the crew chiefs and for tomorrow's race will too, is the tire, how well it held up and how the premium is absolutely on track position. We saw that all day long. When Ricky Stenhouse had it, he drove away. At the end of the race, Elliott had it, and here he goes, cruising to the win.
With weather supposedly threatening, the radar cleared, the skies were beautiful, and we went green a little bit after 2:10 Eastern Time this afternoon, with Trevor Baynes starting alongside Joey Logano on the front row. Kyle Busch, one of the main players on the day, was seeking a 4th straight win here at Bristol in the Nationwide Series, and early on in that 54 moved up well.
Well, it really looked like that they had solved a lot of their issues, taking the lead here, and it's just been a tough start to the season, but things weren't going to continue like that.
Yeah, they have solved a lot of their issues. Their cars were better, but they had that little hiccup and left the wheel loose, and it did cost them. But Danica, I think she had a pretty solid day. This is like we talked before the race started. This is the toughest short track, and she struggled a little bit on short tracks, and to finish within 2 laps, I think is a good day for her.
Yeah, and 2 laps down here, as much green flag race we had, says a lot about her today.
Moment of the race, under caution late. Elliott Sadler's crew chief Luke Lambert says stay out when almost everybody else on the lead lap did. Sadler chose the outside lane for the restart and got away from Casey Kane.
Yeah, and I think we saw, and Casey Kane said, and Elliott said it, that Casey Kane kind of helped him out, became his best friend there.
And Elliott Sadler showing you what winning at Bristol means to him. And continuing to take the pictures in victory lane. There's a lot that goes to winning one of these races.
Yeah, there is, but that doesn't get old, I promise you.
I'll bet not. So look at the full finishing order from today's 4th race of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season, with Elliott Sadler going 2 for 4, his 2nd win so far this year.
See, Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes away with the top 5 there.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick, kind of surprising to see him that far down in the top 10. I expected him to really challenge for the win, but didn't have a good day.
Trevor Bayne, heard from him, led a number of laps in this race. The strategy didn't play into his favor late.
How about Sam Hornish? Spun out, hit a few things, still came out on the lead lap in 13.
Got the free pass twice late in the going, by the way.
Yeah, Michael Annett with a great run there in 11th. He's had a solid start to the season with the new team.
Last time Kyle Busch finished outside the top 10 in 4 straight races, he won the next 3. We'll see what happens going to Southern California next week. Some of the other drivers who finished laps behind and struggled their way through the day, and those who failed to finish, including Kenny Wallace, Brian Scott, who went behind the wall with mechanical troubles. Saw Jeffrey Earnhardt's name on that finishing order. Didn't get a chance to focus much on him today with all the good action up front, but let's hear from the youngster who made his first start of the season today.
And we actually had two Earnhardts in the field today. Jeffrey Earnhardt, the grandson, of course, of the late, great Dale Sr., racing here for the first time in the Nationwide Series. Finished the race, brought it home 26th. What was your first impression of Bristol?
It was fun. You know, we didn't have the best car, but, you know, we took what we had, and we, like you said, brought the car home in one piece. And, you know, we'll take and, you know, just work for the next race. I think we got like 4 more races lined up this year, and we're just going to try and keep improving each one. And our main goal here was to finish and do the best we could, and that's what we did.
Good to see you back in the Nationwide Series. As he said, we'll see him 4 more times this season.
All right, Jamie, thanks. And as we wrap it up today here in Bristol, we look ahead. Coverage tomorrow of the American Le Mans Series. Mobil 1, 12 Hours of Sebring is on ABC at noon Eastern Time. Next weekend, our coverage from California of the Nationwide Series includes qualifying on Saturday, ESPN 2 at 1:30 Eastern. And the race is at 5 Eastern on ESPN. Race 5 of the season, the big, fast 2-mile track next Saturday.
Yeah, not a lot of grip to be had on that racetrack, but it is fast and fun and plenty of room to race.
And putting a button on today, a good strategy call, a good race car, and some hard driving.
That's all it takes here. Track position and a good car.
You crew chiefs make driver look good, can't you?
It works the other way, too.
Elliott Sadler celebrating his second win of this season. And congratulations to he and the Richard Childress Racing Team on a job well done today. Sadler leading just one time for 35 laps, but he led the final 35. And those, of course, are the ones that count the most. So, next weekend, it's on to California. Up next, it's Sports Center. There's a little bit going on in the sports world. Catch up on it all next. Find out who's winning the tournament games today. And we congratulate our winner today, Elliott Sadler, here in Bristol. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Sadler tops in Thunder Valley today. The Sprint Cup race here tomorrow, and then it's on to Southern California next weekend. We hope you'll be with us.
It's flying jet fighters in a high school gymnasium. Racing rocket sleds in a cereal bowl. Roller derby with race cars. For 6 decades, we've tried to describe it, but it only takes one word. Hell yeah! Bristol.